Greetings, guys and gals. Welcome to week number 7, the final week of the round robin for Blue Otter Emerald. Our last streamed best of 3 of the regular season will be an Ionian altercation between TTM Aegaeon and XSV Greed. Last week, TTM suffered a 0-2 loss, their first match loss of the season at the hands of the other XSV team, XSV Gluttony. Meanwhile, Greed were able to cruise to a very comfortable 2-0 victory over Dorado Gaming, with both wins coming in under 30 minutes. Both teams that we are watching tonight are playoff bound. Whoever wins this match will claim the higher seed heading into the postseason. My name is Crewman. I'm here with some wonderful water weasels to talk all about this last week of games. We're going to have to go a little quick tonight because we do obviously have this delayed start. But my friends, if you could please introduce yourselves with your IGN, your team, your role, and let's just go with that, and then we'll get into the predictions.
Name is Spada. I'm top laner and captain of Bing Chillers, and I am TTM's #1 fan.
Fantastic.
My name's Thrasher. I'm the jungler for the Soot Sprites. That's all I got.
All right, all
Yep.
right.
I'm Trad. I'm the jungler for Bing Chillers, and I am Poom's #1 fan.
Nice. Last but not least.
And I'm Jake. I'm the coach of Draconic Spire, and I'm the #1 guy who's the best top laner in the league.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start off with Demacia tonight. Take a look at some of these matchups. Our first matchup we need to discuss is Sin TBD versus Monkey's Cheers. Now, Monkey's Cheers are eliminated from the playoffs. We do know all of the playoff teams actually in every division except for Freljord, which hopefully we're going to be able to get to a little bit later. Espada, you are actually still predicting the Monkeys, though, despite the fact that they're not going to be able to make it through to the postseason. Anything you want to say about that?
Yes, sir. 5 big booms for my boys over in Cheers. Boom, 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 boom. They're gonna take it,
Fantastic.
even though their season's over. They're gonna show what's up.
I'm sure they appreciated those booms as well. Very nice. Anybody else, anything to say about this particular matchup?
Yeah, I mean, Cheers have really been struggling, and I think TBD would like to secure that second seed. If they do 2-0, or I believe 2-1, they will still get the second seed. So I think TBD are going to take this pretty comfortably.
Okay, yeah. A lot of people were expecting, I think, Monkey's Cheers to be a contender here in Demacia at the start of the season, but yeah, they weren't really able to quite figure things out in time. But maybe they'll be able to get some booming done tonight. Let's go ahead and move on to our next matchup. Blue Saber Wolves versus Monkey's Paw. And Espada, you're again standing out here as the only Monkey's Paw predictor. We saw Monkey's Paw kind of get destroyed on stream last week, but you believe in their ability to bounce back against the Saber Wolves. Anything to say there? Espada? Or anybody else? Anything to say about the Saber Wolves versus the Paw Monkeys?
I mean, I think Pakapal has paid Spada to predict both Monkeys teams.
He's paid
Monkey's Paw.
off.
Yeah, I mean, Monkey's Paw, again, one of those teams that are in the struggling category as we've seen the split. And, again, it is really a toss-up because, these are the games that don't really matter. Blue Saber Wolves are also eliminated. Blue Saber Wolves, I feel like, are the coulda, woulda, shoulda of the season. They're a team that really could have got it going, but they just never did. So
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate season for
Sorry,
both of those teams.
my mic was muted, but I'm a Monkeys fan all the way. If there's 4 Monkeys team in BO Emerald, all 4 of them can't be duds. There's got to be some shine there somewhere.
Yeah,
So I'm a faithful Monkeys fan this week.
fair enough. Weren't you on a Monkeys team last season, Espada? I seem to remember something
No
about
comment.
that. No comment.
oh.
Okay. Yeah, pretty it's been a rough season for the Monkeys this split. But we'll see. Maybe they are going to be able to get something off the Saber Wolves tonight. And then here we have an interesting situation. Mint Crashouts versus Draconic Spire. And we've got quite a lot of Draconic Spire predictors. And Mint Crashouts are the only team in the entire league that have not dropped a single game all season, and you guys are all predicting against them, all predicting that that's going to change tonight. So Trad, why is this? Why are we predicting? Or wait,
Well, I feel like, it's a situation of what is this game worth to both teams, right? Mint Crashouts come in as the first seed. They have already secured that. Even if they want to, they're still going to be the first seed, right? Draconic have a lot to play for here. They could fall from second to fourth depending on how they play tonight, and they actually have the advantage on Conduit if they both 2-0. So Draconic have a lot to play for tonight, and Mint don't. Right, and you look at it like that, and really Draconic really have their season to play for, and it kind of represents how mixed up the groups are in a way where like you have 3 teams in this group that could all get second seed.
yeah, definitely. I can see what you're saying there. Oh,
I was gonna say I love the hype, but even if we 2-0, we can't get the second seed if Conduit and Syndicate win because we are a win below them currently in the standings.
Oh, it is
if
best series
those.
We have to win and both teams have to lose for us to move up a seed.
Well, that is possible, right? That's
It
could
is.
happen. Jake? What are your thoughts going into this match? I mean, obviously, I assume you're predicting yourself to win as well. Unfortunately, we didn't have space for you here
Always.
on the graphic. But what's your general thoughts going into this one?
Always. It's funny because we've had a ramp up this season for sure. And a lot of it came when we switched our AD carry and we got some new life and we just play together as a team now. And it's weird because people said Demacia was a group of death, but the only team that has been scary is Mint Crashouts for us, and like every team we've played has been kind of bad. And we should have won every series, and we were just throwing every game for no reason, kind
We
of.
lost to bad teams.
And so like when I look at it, like I think we should be able to beat Mint Crashouts, but it's one of those things where like it depends who's better on the day because they're definitely a good enough team to beat us. This isn't a team that we will just lose by beating ourselves. They'll actually like come out and hit us in the face if we're not careful.
Right. Well, I'm definitely glad to hear that you've been, ramping up over the course of the season. Obviously, that is the trajectory that you want. And I hear you as well about the fact that, a lot of people were calling Demacia the group of death at the start of the season. I feel like things didn't really turn out that way, partially because, as we already discussed, the Monkeys teams really just struggled to find any amount of consistency this season. But speaking of teams that we were expecting to be good, taking a look at this last matchup here in Demacia, Elysium Encore versus Conduit Sun. At the start of the season, for me at least, I was kind of had high expectations for this Elysium team. But again, we have a situation here where there's some good players on this team, but they just weren't really quite able to figure out how they wanted to play the game, and they haven't really found much success. And Conduit Sun, we saw took that convincing 2-0 on stream last week, so I'm definitely predicting them. Anybody want to weigh in on this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, I feel like, Elysium do have the upset potential tonight, but, you look at form and consistency and you're probably favoring Conduit, but, Elysium does have a chance, and it will be very interesting. I think this might be the closest matchup we're gonna have tonight. Maybe the Draconic series will be a little closer, but I think this will be one of the closest series we have tonight. And honestly, I think that it's really a toss-up.
Okay. You think it's one of the closest series like throughout the whole league or just in Demacia?
Justin Demacia, it might be like a
Okay.
top 3 matchup in general, but like I don't yeah.
All right. Well, I do wish that we had time for everybody to weigh in on these matchups, but again, we did start a little bit late, so we do have to keep things moving along. Let's go ahead and just jump straight over to Noxus. We do have several representatives of Noxus, obviously, on the show this week. Our first matchup, we're going to be taking a look at Syndicate Soot Sprites versus the Shattered Spire. Now, this is, talking about close matchups, this is definitely one that I could see being pretty competitive. The Soot Sprites obviously have had a stronger performance this season overall, but the Shattered Spire obviously defending champs. You never know if they show up with a strong performance on the day. I definitely think that they could take it. Thrasher, let's come to you first. What are obviously you're predicting yourself here, naturally. What are your expectations heading into this one?
Definitely one of the ones we circled on our calendar, along with Chillers and Original Sin has big implications for playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, we respect them as as the reigning champions, and we know it's going to be a tough matchup. I've put a lot of time into scouting, and I'm sure they've done the same. I think it's going to be a great matchup, but I think they're really reliant on Synthwave being their best player, and I think Box is better. So
Okay.
I think that's going to be a key matchup to watch.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else want to respond to that at all, or anything to comment on?
Yeah, I don't care about this matchup. I just need Spire to win so we can get first seed. That's all.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do need a.
Also true, they have a secret agenda here.
Yeah, so but I'm pretty sure, Syndicate are in control of their own destiny here. Spires at least. Right?
Yeah.
If they win one game, they will get number one seed automatically. So it's really gonna just come down to who's better on the day. I mean, if Shattered Spire are 20% better and they 2-0, Chillers probably get the first seed, barring anything happening in the their series, which is something we'll talk about later. But like, it's not
Mhm.
a done deal that Chillers are gonna 2-0. So it really just depends. But I think Spire pull it out 2-1 and Syndicate get the first seed.
Okay, interesting, interesting. Appreciate that little bit of extra context behind your prediction there, Trad. Pretty cool. So we do have our next matchup here is Maelstrom versus Monkey's Manor. These teams are both eliminated from playoffs, and unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to go ahead and skip over this one. We are divided, obviously, on the predictions, which is interesting, but we just simply don't have time. So, gonna jump straight over to this next matchup: the Winions versus Original Sin. So, again, I'm I'm interested to see Espada. You seem to be predicting against yourself tonight. What's
I
going
am.
on
I'm
there?
shaking in my boots. I'm
Oh,
scared. Shit was. I just watched Butters beat a Masters bot lane in a scrim yesterday. I don't know if we can win. I'm shaking.
oh no. Okay. Wow. That sounds pretty frightening. I hear you.
I'm really
Trads,
scared.
uh, your top laner's shaking in his boots. But you are actually predicting your squad to take the win tonight. So are you gonna be able to overcome the bot lane that defeated the Masters?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. Obviously, a lot of respect for Original Sin. They're a great team, but I feel like we have shown a little bit more consistency throughout the season. So we'll see. Obviously, we're all in playoffs, so I mean, that's the main goal, right? You get into playoffs, you get a chance to win the title, and we've gotten to that point now. So the series tonight, big one. Good tune up for playoffs, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm very excited to see what Original Sin comes out with tonight.
Yeah, totally. It is looking extremely likely that Original Sin are almost guaranteed locked into that fourth place spot. I guess if they did get the 2-0 over you guys tonight, there is the chance they could sneak up into third. Not entirely sure about the math on that, but looking very likely that they are going to be fourth seed and potentially a difficult first opponent then in the first round of playoffs. But we'll get to that next week. Thrasher, Jake, anything to comment on with this matchup?
I think it's going to be a really good one. I think OSIN's been kind of underperforming for what their roster is and frankly what their stats are. Even against the top teams, they're still putting up numbers. They're just not closing out games. We played them on a 50-minute game where they were winning. They should have won. They just couldn't close out. So, but they didn't have their support, and they're saying they didn't have their mid laner against Spire. So they have their full squad. I think they take it 2-0 or they lose. I don't think they win a 2-1 though.
Interesting. You think Original Sin need the 2-0?
Well, they do need the 2-0, but I think
Sure.
if it goes 3 games, I don't think they can win a third game. I don't believe in
Right.
their clutch factor.
I see. I see. Very interesting. Jake, anything you wanted to add here? An interesting matchup.
No, I mean they covered most of it. I'll be watching with bated breath as part of the Spire because a lot of implications for this group. But it's really exciting
Yeah.
for me to watch because I know I'm going to enjoy scouting for Bing Chillers when they get the first seed. So
All right.
Hopefully.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. Definitely.
Don't hold your
Our
breath.
last.
Okay.
Our last matchup for Noxus, Goon Squad Gaming versus Teammate Only. Goon Squad desperately hoping to avoid the winless round robin. Looks like Espada, you do believe in them to make that happen, but again, we just don't have time to talk about this one, unfortunately. I'd like to just go ahead and move straight on over to the Ionia division. I have been told that some of the players do need a little bit more time, so we've got like 5 extra minutes tonight. Hopefully that'll be enough to actually get through everything. First matchup here in Ionia, going to be Monkeys Goons versus XSV Gluttony. Espada, as we already discussed, you are just a Monkeys believer. So I'm
Yes,
glad to
sir.
see that
Yes,
you're
sir.
you're
Monkeys all the
sticking with
way,
that.
you know.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. XSV Gluttony did pick up their I believe it was a 2-0 over the formerly undefeated TTM last week. So they are looking really, really strong. Anybody want to comment on this one?
Yeah, I mean, once again, Gluttony control their own destiny here. Even if they were to 2-1, they would still automatically lock first seed with the 2-point gap that they have to TTM and the head-to-head, right? You're kind of in a position here where you just have to win one game and you get that first seed. So that, I mean, of course, you don't come into the mentality with, hey, just win one game, but that's what they're going to be thinking to get that first seed.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like our next matchup here is going to be Team Solo Invade versus Tilt World Enders. So again, we have another matchup that's a playoff team versus a not playoff team. Tilt are very close, but I believe even if they do get the 2-0, they're not quite going to be able to catch up to 4th place. So, Espada, you are actually also predicting Tilt here. Anything you want to say about this?
No, nothing. Just world enders win. That's it.
Yeah, short and sweet. I like it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next matchup here. Dorado versus JR Flying Dutchman. We are split on the predictions again here. Dutchman, another one of these teams that has really, really struggled this season, and this is another situation where they do need the win tonight to avoid the winless round robin. So possibly they'll be able to make that happen, but once again, we just don't have time to really talk about it too much. Let's go ahead and move on to XSV Greed versus TTM Aegaeon. This is, of course, going to be our streamed match for tonight. I am predicting XSV Greed. We had Frozen Spuds, actually. That's Frozen Spuds was on the show last week, and he was predicting that TTM were going to lose this match as well. They were going to lose to both of the XSV teams towards the end here, and after seeing the results from last week, I am convinced as well. But Thrasher, it looks like you are predicting TTM to actually bounce back and get the win over Greed. Tell me about it.
I mean, I think these teams are actually relatively even in terms of how they have performed. This one's more of just a personally, I want TTM to win because they can be worse than Gluttony. I think Gluttony is borderline S tier or seen as borderline S tier in this league. So losing to them is, there's no real shame in that. But I really want them to bounce back because I miss Taunty2K talking in the Emerald chat, and he's been MIA ever since they got destroyed. So it's been kind of a little bit less lively.
So the yapping vote, a prediction to basically in support of more yapping in the Gen chat. I like it.
Yeah, it's more fun
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, I mean, TTM are really on not a good trajectory right now. They like tried to get to the moon and they missed, and now they're falling back to Earth.
Oh no.
They're not having a great end of their season, and you don't want that because going in the playoffs, especially in this format where you could draw a very good team, and they could still drop the 4th seed. That's not like out of the question here, but they could drop the 4th seed if TSI win and XSV win, they're 4th seed, right? And if you're a 1st seed, you want to draw to the moon right now because they are not going to the moon right now. They are almost back on Earth at this point. So we'll see what happens, but
Oh, you guys have little faith in the TTM boys. They're gonna take it. They're really good. I just scrimmed against them, and they are a really strong contender for something. But I believe in them against Greed tonight. I'm sure they can beat the Masters ADC Cavs. Like they got this because they got Brother Otter on that team. How do you lose to Brother Otter?
They do. They do have the brother among them. Yeah, overall, it's been a great season so far for TTM, right? We'll see if they're going to be able to right the rocket ship tonight or if they're going to continue burning up in the atmosphere. Let's go ahead and move on to our last division. We've got the Freljord, of course, coming up last. The only division that still has that last playoff spot up for grabs. So, first matchup to talk about here is AK Hearts versus the Conduit Gremlins. So, right now, I believe in the standings, AK Hearts and Glacial Spectre are the two teams fighting for that last playoff spot. I believe AK Hearts are 2 points ahead at the moment. So if Glacial Spectre, I believe, need to actually win their match to snag that 4th place spot away from the Hearts. Personally, as you can see here, guys, I am not predicting that to necessarily happen. I do think that AK Hearts are just barely going to be able to walk away with it, even though I am predicting against them in their match against the Gremlins here as well. But you guys are all Hearts believers, so whoever would like to go first. Trad, I don't know if you've really gone first very much. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same logic as, the Crash Out series. I mean, AK Hearts have so much more to play for in this series compared to Gremlins. Even though Gremlins, at the top of the table, we have 3 teams equal points, right? And I think that AK Hearts, they control their own destiny. They have a lot to play for tonight, and I think they pull it out in a close win, 2-1.
Okay, interesting. Jake, haven't heard from you in a while. What are you thinking about this matchup?
I think I have way more faith in AK Hearts than I would Glacial Spectre. So when I looked at this group, I definitely think AK Hearts can make the noise and stop Conduit Gremlins from getting a 1 seed, since they do have that 3-way tie at the top right now.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot to play for Conduit, to be fair, with that 3-way tie, like you said. But I do think AK Hearts can take the upset. And before I head out to go draft, I do think Glacial Spectre probably not going to beat No Quarter Gaming. So even if AK Hearts lose, it's all about taking a game for them to at least make playoffs.
Gotcha. Jake, you got to go right now, you were saying?
Yeah.
But if you want to give any shout outs really quickly before you go, feel free.
Sailor is the GOAT, which you guys all know, but best teammate ever. That guy's a true leader.
Wholesome. Thank you for joining us, Jake. Good luck in your
Good luck
match tonight.
Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
And then, does anybody else have to go right now? I know we are getting up to the start time, the scheduled start time. Everybody else can stick around for a couple more minutes. All right.
Yeah,
My
not
team
yet.
always trickles in.
All right. Well, we've got No Quarter Gaming here versus Glacial Spectre. Espada, you are a Spectre predictor. What's that about? Espada, you might be muted again, I think.
Oh, I'm good. Yep. Yeah, just like how Queen Sticks is a fan of Rutledge, I'm a big fan of Queen Sticks. I think she's gonna carry
Aw.
her team across the finish line, and like this loss on the side of No Quarter Gaming should be able to wake up my boy Aegaeon. He's been a bit quiet ever since we abused him in Gen Chat. So hopefully he comes out of whatever rock he's been hiding under. But yeah, Glacial for the win.
Interesting. Yeah, we have seen some high highs from Styx over there in the jungle. I remember she's the Morgana player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plays everything.
I do remember watching a Jungle Morgana game that was absolutely insane from Styx. So definitely wouldn't put it past them. You know, I could see the Spectres pulling off the upset. It has been a really good season for No Quarter this split, but they could get upset here. Anybody else want to weigh in on this match specifically?
Yeah, I mean, you could say that about all the teams in this group, though. I mean, all of them are 5-1, right? So all the same points. And honestly, it sets up for a really good bracket once this all gets shaped out. But yeah, I agree. I think No Quarter is just the better team right now. I think that in the jungle especially, I think that they are just gonna get outclassed tonight. And No Quarter should take this pretty easily. I'll predict 2-1 to be respectful, but I do think it's gonna be a 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with Fearless Draft, you only get one Morgana game, right? We'll have to see. I'm sure, somebody was saying that Queen Six can play other things as well. I'm sure she can, but definitely No Quarter looking pretty strong.
Hey,
Let's
one
move
is
on
all
to
she
this.
needs.
Okay, there it is. But our next matchup here, Bloom Gaming versus the Chosen Inters. So Bloom are part of that 3-way tie up at the top of Freljord here. Shout out Chong Somo. The Chosen Inters not going to be making it into that postseason. Espada, of course, predicting the Inters. Anybody want to say anything about this match?
Yeah, I mean, Blue Gaming are just way better. I wish I could offer like a detailed explanation and go into why, but I feel like Bloom just have the advantage here. They're gonna 2-0 and most likely gonna take the first seed in the group. But yeah, I think Bloom Gaming really good shoe in for the first seed here in the final week of this three-way tie.
Nice, nice. As anybody think a different team is going to end up with first seed, or does everybody think Bloom is looking like the strongest here in Freljord?
It should be Bloom. They should just get the first seed.
Okay.
Off rip. I think if all three win today, they all have head to head against each other. So go to like game time, and I'm pretty sure like Bloom has the best game time.
Okay, yeah, cool, cool. Last matchup here, Golden Geese versus the Huracan. Both teams that have really struggled quite a lot this season. Uh, shout out to the Geese. Maybe those once again a situation where they need to pick up the win to avoid the winless Robin, and should be doable against the Huracan. So we'll see if they can make it happen. Anybody want to really quickly say anything about this? Probably not.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm
I
letting the
coin-
Geese my energy.
Give them your energy.
I coin flipped for this prediction, so yeah, I don't really have much to say here.
We'll see if the flock is going to be able to fly. It would be cool if they get at least one win on the board. But that's going to do it for this episode of Otter Talk, guys. So really quickly, some shout outs here. Espada, any shout outs?
Yeah. Sybil for taking my team and let's go Bing Chillers. Woo!
Nice. Thrasher?
Just ready to get week 7 done and get into playoffs.
All right. Trad, any shout outs?
Yeah, just to all the teams that didn't make playoffs and are gonna play their final game tonight. I just hope they all have fun, and for the teams that are making playoffs and who are gonna fight for seeding tonight, just have fun. I mean that's what the leagues are all about, right? To have fun, distract you from life in a way. So hopefully, everyone has fun and everyone enjoys the conclusion to what has been a banger regular season.
What? Have fun playing League of Legends? What do you? No, just kidding. Absolutely, yeah. That is what we're here for, and hopefully we'll see a lot of these teams, even the folks who didn't make it into playoffs. Hopefully we'll see a lot of folks come back next season to take another crack at it. That would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys all very much for joining us for this last regular season episode of OT. Good luck, have fun in all your matches tonight, guys. We'll be right back for the first game of the night. Don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, welcome to Game 1 Champion Select between TTM Aegaeon and XSV Greed. As I discussed briefly in the intro, whoever wins this best of 3 tonight will secure the higher seed for the playoffs. We don't know exactly what that seed is going to be, depends on some other results that come in tonight, but it's going to be exciting no matter what. I do have my co-caster here, Storm. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited to see this TTM versus XS Green matchup. Should be one of the more interesting ones that we have in this week 7. Plenty of playoff implications here.
No doubt.
Really curious to see. I believe the winner of this series will retain second seed in this group, whereas the loser of this series can drop all the way down to fourth seed, possibly.
Yeah. The other two teams in the top 4 besides these two do obviously have some easier opponents tonight. So we would expect both of those other teams to pick up wins, which would mean the loser of this match would be the only team in that top 4 in this very, very competitive Ionia division that would eat the loss here in week number 7, which would most likely put them in the 4th place spot. But we can get back to all that later. Let's talk a little bit about this game 1 draft that we have here, Storm. Looks like Jin Zhao is going to come through on the B1. Very popular pick these days.
Yeah, I think that's a great first pick. I'm pretty sure that's just one of the meta junglers you always want to see on your team. Provides frontline, provides engage, gives you early game, whole bunch of different options available to you while drafting this Xin Zhao. Just think one of the premier picks. You're never mad to have Xin Zhao on your team, basically in any scenario. Glad to see that come through.
Absolutely. We do have some interesting things banned away here. The Caitlyn and the Tristana, I believe, are 2 picks that the XSV Greed 80 carry has really popped off with last week when Greed picked up a 2-0. So interesting to see those banned away. We do have a lot of 80 carry bans with a Smolder banned away on red side as well. And then the Jinx picked up by Greed here on the R1 slot alongside the Nocturne means this 80 carry pool is a little bit pinched. It looks like it's going to be the Zeri. So matching the hyper carry threat of the Jinx seems to be the call.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Zeri enjoyer. I really feel like that's a champion you need to spend a lot of time practicing, have those FPS games ingrained in you to be able to really utilize her to her full potential. I would have much rather seen a Twitch or something along that line, something that can much easier assassinate Jinx. But Zeri does give you that hypercaling potential. I think it's
Yeah,
also
feels
really
like
interesting that we see this Nocturne got locked in and we locked Hui kind of in mobile mid laner into it.
Yeah, that is a little bit
Um,
surprising. Feels like the Nocturne is going to be really threatening for the Wei later on. You know, it means that the Wei can't really push out those side lanes very comfortably, right? Probably going to mean that Aegaeon are going to have to just group a lot and try to play for the bigger fights. They do have some good tools to work with if that is what they're going for. So we'll see how they're able to set up the map to sort of mitigate the threat of this Nocturne because it was picked really early. So, you know, we still could see, I think, some options for Aegaeon that could make the Nocturne's life a little bit more difficult. We did see the Gragas come through there on the R3 as well. So already quite a lot of disruption in what Greed have over there on the red side.
yeah, and I believe this Gragas is probably going towards top lane for Spoobert, if I had to guess. Over on the side of XSV Greed. It's one of his most played champions, something he's very, very comfortable on.
Yeah.
Gragas top, just one of kind of those annoying things as a top
19
laner.
games with 53% win rate this season on the Gragas.
Yeah, that you know he's going to take phase rush. That means you can't ever really trade in any extended way with him. And that's probably locking it in more so with the jungle and mid lane now with this Vel'Koz being picked up for Brother Otter, I believe, in mid lane.
That's right. Yeah. Could still theoretically be to support. Don't think that's necessarily very likely alongside Jinx, but could happen. We'll see the Braum as an answer for TTM. So that's a very defensive option. It could theoretically be a pretty tough lane for the Zeri up against the Jinx down there. So having that Braum for a little bit of extra defense, make sure that the Zeri is going to be able to survive the laning phase and scale up towards those first couple of items, I think makes some sense.
Yeah, gives you some more peel and downwards protection against this Nocturne as well when it dives in onto Zeri, if he ever does. Gives you some much more defensive tools. Cho'Gath, the pseudo-esque blind pick, we're almost certain this is Gragas top, is selected. One of the few matchups that Gragas actually struggles into because he cannot poke Cho'Gath out of lane. Cho'Gath just naturally sustains through all of the Gragas poke and has the actual push to match him. And we are going to see round 5, we get Milio locked in. What are your thoughts of this
Yeah.
Milio in this draft? Just more disruption, more safety?
Yeah, definitely. It's a pretty strong pairing alongside the Jinx. Jinx always loves any kind of enchanter that you're going to pair alongside with her to give her even more range on those rocket auto attacks can be really nice. But with the Melio, it does mean that I feel like Greed are a little bit light on frontline. So that actually does indicate to me, despite the fact that the Melio does, in theory, augment the team fighting power of the Jinx, I think with the limited amount of frontline and the limited amount of engagement that they have, Greed are almost forced to play now more towards those side lanes, which they have the tools to do with the Nocturne and the Gragas, right? But it does feel like their draft is maybe a little bit more inflexible than what TTM have put together.
Yeah, I'm also kind of liking the TTM draft more. I think, having that actual just solid tank in the Cho'Gath top lane who's going to build nothing but resistances and enables you to get some of these picks. You have Cho knock up into this Hui abilities to root. I have no idea what his abilities are named. There's way too many of them. And Zeri has the burst damage and Zhao has the knockups. There is a lot of pick tools for TTM. You can say the same thing for Greed, but I just feel that with this actual front line that they're going to be much more stable coming into these team fights. So they have my vote.
Yeah.
I think TTM is going to take this first one just based solely off the draft that we've been presented with.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the direction that I'm leaning as well, Storm. I also mentioned in the intro the fact that TTM are coming off a pretty tough loss. They lost 0-2. It was versus, I'm blanking right
Gluttony,
now,
I believe.
versus Gluttony. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right, Storm. That was last week. But in that match against Gluttony, despite the fact that it was a 0-2 result for TTM, both top laner Taunty2K and mid laner Professor both actually had positive KDs in both of those games, despite the 0-2 loss. So, I really am looking, I think, a lot at the bot lane, at the Lambo down there. I feel like has to have a stronger performance tonight against what we expect to be another really difficult opponent.
Yeah, I believe Kaz is currently the highest rated player in all of BOL Emerald that they have
Wow.
officially ranked out. I think he's Diamond 2, Diamond
Oh
3, somewhere in there.
yeah. I
He
think he
is
was actually, was
really
he master even?
Yeah, I think he had hit master. I'm not sure there was any sort of reset with this split 2 thing that has happened, but um
There wasn't a rank reset.
okay. Yeah, so then he would still be master tier as far as I'm concerned. And to my knowledge.
Kaz. It looks like he actually did drop down back to Diamond 2. He's at 84 LP Diamond 2 right now. So a little bit of a loss streak recently. He's actually 2-8 in his last 10 solo queue games. So it's been a little bit more difficult for Kaz recently over there in solo queue, but that's obviously has a limited amount of relevance for the 5v5 games that we're playing here tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely one of those things. You will expect Kaz to be a huge benefit for Greed, someone to really watch out for. Probably going to see another type of hyper carry champion locked in for him in game 2 and 3 if it gets there, I would imagine. Will also want to shout out that I believe this Vel'Koz is a pick away from Brother Otter. I'm pretty sure he plays a lot of it. I'm
Sorry,
here. I cannot.
my computer was struggling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my computer. I was lagging like crazy for a second there. Sorry, guys, but hopefully I've fixed it.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
My apologies there, guys. Just a little bit of an internet issue there on my end. But yes, sorry if I interrupted you at all, Storm.
No, no worries. I thought that was my end as I am currently traveling and on a work laptop, so I thought that was on my end because I saw your mouth moving on your cam and went, "Oh God, no." But yeah, think it is a takeaway pick. I think both of these drafts do have a lot of opportunities for outplay. I'm really excited to get into this series, um, and I'm really hoping TTM can show me what they've got because I've had faith in them all season, despite plenty of other analysts saying that they are not it.
Yeah, yeah. We even heard, on this episode of Otter Talk earlier tonight, there was we were a little bit divided. Some guests were expecting TTM to bounce back tonight, but there definitely were some doubters as well. Some people saying that they've really started to struggle, based on the performance that we saw last week and maybe even a week or two before that, despite being able to get the win, maybe looking a little bit more shaky. So I think it will be really interesting to see the form of TTM specifically tonight, as we do move in towards those playoffs. Anything else to mention, though, Storm, before we go to a quick break?
No, I'm just ready and I'm excited.
It's going to be a fun one, guys. No doubt about it. Don't go anywhere. The last regular season match of season number 13 is going to be hitting those monitors in just a moment. All right, everybody, welcome on to the Rift for game number 1 tonight. We've got TTM, of course, on the blue side and XSV Greed on red to start this one off. Anything we're expecting early on, Storm?
You always have to be wary of invade. There is a Braum on the enemy team, the undisputed level 1 king champion.
Oh,
Cho'Gath does provide some pretty decent invade opportunity as well with his Q, knock up. Quay has that poke. There is just a little bit here back and forth, but doesn't look, just seeing this big 5-point across the map. Nothing really happening, it appears.
yeah, as we
But
discussed.
as far as jungle,
ahead.
go right
You're
ahead.
good, you're good.
All right,
As-
jungle pathing this game. Wheelchair jungle on the Nocturne. Probably just, going to be going for this level 6 kind of power spike, just trying to farm as much as possible. Probably will path down towards his bot lane just to make sure that they're safe, not really looking for early ganks. Xin Zhao, on the other hand, you can see he's starting at this blue buff as well, deciding the bot lane is the place to be, wants to try and make sure that this Jinx is unable to get ahead. I'm guessing we're going to see some mid lane attention here in this matchup. Both of these mages are very susceptible to ganks, not having, any real escape tools. So I'm kind of hoping and seeing that we're going to get a level 3 gank or something from Xin Zhao towards mid lane. That's what I would like to see. Guessing most of these lanes are just going to be kind of farming out for the beginning of this game.
That would probably be my expectation as well. As Xin Zhao, I like that you pointed that out. Obviously, a much stronger early ganker, early skirmisher than the Nocturnes, so could definitely look for something there. And while we're on the topic of junglers, quick sidebar, Storm. What's the pronunciation for that TTM jungler? Do you know?
Oh, Spartan.
Spartan. Ah, excellent. Okay, I'm glad I asked. Spartan is running the lethal tempo on the Xin Zhao this game. A little bit unusual. Any thoughts there?
Just means that he's hopefully meaning to get more aggressive. Lethal tempo means you automatically win duels, whereas Conqueror is better for team fighting, gives you that Omni Vamp at the full stacks, whereas Lethal Tempo is just straight up for fighting and these, trying to get in as much as possible. So hoping we see that more and is able to unlock his early aggression. Is Spartan?
Yeah. It was kind of like a middle ground almost between the Conqueror and the Hail of Blades, which is the other rune that you see the Xin Zhao run sometimes. Make sense?
Yeah.
Spartan type,
I think Hail of Blades is very much all in. It provides almost no utility whatsoever as the game gets later and later. It kind of forces you to go that, lethality role. Very much more lane thing from what I remember seeing of lanes in Zhao.
Sure, yeah.
Oh.
Junglers finishing up their full clears now. We did not see that level 3 gank come out that you were kind of hypothesizing. And it looks like the Nocturne is actually going to be the first one into the river. Down there on the bottom side, both junglers, though, with... Oh, actually, the Xin Zhao doesn't have Smite, but Wheelchair is just going to respect it, just going to back away. Didn't have the bot prio to actually fight for that one. So it's just going to move over to the top side.
Yeah, nice to see. We saw CU kind of wandering over with Zin's out. There wasn't going to be any sort of actual fight. Zin forfeits the topside scuttle, knows that that's gone. Just going to buy his longswords and get his reset off as his camps respawn. Interesting to see here. Wheelchair does try and do anything up here. I think that pink ward was probably a little overkill on this gank, but Taunti's wave is in a pretty bad spot here if Wheelchair does want to stick around, or he's just going to start cycling his camps without taking a reset.
Interesting, yeah. Does make sense for the Nocturne, right? You're just trying to get to that level 6 mark as quickly as possible. Also, very nice to see Taunti playing respectfully up there. Obviously, had the information that the Nocturne was on the top side of the map, so just staying back, not allowing himself to get engaged on. Love to see it.
Yep. Hopefully we are able to kind of see something with Xin Zhao here, with Spartan wanting them to get in this action. Maybe they can start an early objective of some kind here, as we are probably going to see Kaz take a reset down here towards bot lane soon, I imagine. Maybe they're able to start up this dragon early after they take these chickens.
little bit awkward for Taunty, actually. Right after I praise him, he teleports back to the top lane and immediately loses over half of his health. So, that is slightly unfortunate, but does at least have that sustain that you were talking about earlier.
Yep. And you can kind of keep in mind when Cho'Gath gets ult, it is an auto.
Okay,
Spartan
we're
flashing
flashing
forward?
it. Spartan. Yeah, but the kickback from the Melio, really, really nice to disengage from the Xin Zhao. And Kaz didn't even have to burn a summer. It was just the heal from the Melio. All they needed to get away from that one. Spartan just ended up not really getting anything for his flash.
Yeah, heal not really what you're looking for to get that. You were hoping to get that flash trade. That is really unfortunate to see. That's going to really limit this Zinza's aggression, and we do see Nocturne is 5, probably just a single camp or 2 away from hitting that all-important 6.
Yeah.
Is going to hit this dragon, it looks like. They're pathing towards it. Maybe they're just heading down bot lane? Nope, just checking out.
Oh, full channel on the disintegration, right? Professor down to like 30 health. Severing Bolt just to try. Oh, that cue from the Vel'Koz. The trigonometry was accurate there, but the way was far enough back to not get hit.
What is Brother Honor? Wow, that is a brave step up.
Yeah, Professor just sticking around to try to get as much of this wave as possible. At least going to be able to get the experience. Has to respect, though, the Vel'Koz. And not really actually going to be able to farm up much of that wave. Both mid laners without teleport. So not any kind of advantage in that regard. Ooh, the Severing Bolt not able to stop the recall. And that's going to give tempo over to Brother Otter. Professor is now going to stick around and push this wave out. Has his support here to cover. So that's all right.
Just a strange rotation. You know, with this new change in the map, grubs have yet to spawn right now, so supports don't have to move for any sort of early fights so far if they don't want to.
Ooh.
Nice job on Taunty taking that back step, knowing Spoob's going to try and, you know, kind of launch him into his tower.
Ooh, the flash
this
forward
is
to the
first
feast!
blood.
Oh! The first blood for Taunty, 2K. Very nicely done.
Yeah, that's a little bit of over-aggression on Spoobert. Should be kind of one of those things, you know. Don't go behind the 300 health. That's the no-no number, and then Cho'Gath just gets to eat you.
Not the no-no number.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, and Spoobert didn't quite have the teleport back either, so that's going to be a long walk back to lane, losing a full wave there, I believe, as well. Now, Paranoia into the mid lane. That's going to get the flash out from Professor. And now the disintegration rate's back off cooldown for Otter, and he zeroes out the way. 1-1 now on the scoreboard. First grub been taken by Spartan.
Oh, no.
In comes the Nocturne. Spartan able to smite away the second one, but now Spartan has no way out. Oh, actually, does get all three. Yeah, that must have been the Nocturne smite that actually got the second grub down low enough for Spartan. Or no, yeah, actually Nocturne did successfully smite away one of them. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah. But second grub is a big pickup there, making sure that not a full feat's heading over. See Nocturne immediately pathing bot lane, looking towards this dragon. I'm guessing we're going to...
Remember on the new patch, 2 grubs means that is a feat contribution now.
It is a full feat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is something for TTM. But it looks like this first dragon is going to go over to the Nocturne, like you were just talking about.
Yeah, probably just going to see this Xin Zhao cycle towards his top side. Can't see any sort of aggression coming out this bot lane. Maybe with this pink ward they can try and look for some sort of play, but don't think this is the point where you want to be fighting down here.
Super Mega Death Rocket looking for the Cho'Gath was who we were looking for with that rocket, but it's going to be soaked up by Professor. And now the flash underneath the turret. Spoobert gets some revenge. Will die to that last turret shot. But it's about sending a message. As Professor, again, eating the full Vel'Koz ultimate, does manage to connect his own in response. Both mid laners going down pretty low. Brother Otter now getting ganked by the Spartan. Severing Bolt connects. And that has to be the flash away. Really nice reaction there from Brother Otter to get away from the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, that was
Still-
really well played. Making sure to respect that flash when becomes lightning. Do you see that in this top lane? Cho'Gath here building towards that funny Hearthsteel number item health go up. Gragas building Rod of Ages and a tier, so probably going that Rod of Ages into Seraph's Embrace build that every single mage player has embraced. Just giving you some more of that survivability while still being able to dish out the damage. See, both AD carries have a cull. They know what game they're playing, and it is click on the minions.
Actually
next
dead
10
even
minutes.
in farm right now between those two AD carries, or at least it was a second ago.
Yeah. See, Braum winning the support battle, has more money in his pocket after getting that midway lane and getting 2 or 3 minions to himself.
All right, we got a Paranoia in the mid lane. There's way no flash. He's going to get feared up by the tether, and now just a couple more auto attacks would do it. But the fear from the way comes out, creates the distance, but still, Wheelchair Dragon gets in there, finishes off the way, but the Vel'Koz has been taken down by Spartan, and now the Nocturne is not going to be able to get out. So a double kill over to Spartan. Actually, only got one of those. I guess the other one did go over to Professor. But overall,
Yep.
2-for-1 play for TTM in the mid lane.
Yeah, big. We want the Sinzao to get involved, get ahead, get some kills going, get the game kind of going. I feel like you'd be much more comfortable with this Jinx on your side. Look down bot lane here. Just some trading going back and forth. We do see Spartan is in the area, but nothing gonna happen there. Is kind of this lull in the map state right now with the removal of the second set of grubs. Nothing currently coming up, forcing these two teams to fight. So we're
Right.
probably just going to see them kind of continue this slow farm up.
And we
But
talked a
as I
little
was,
bit. Oh no, go ahead,
sorry.
Storm, please.
I was saying that I'd kind of would be much happier heading in towards the late game with this Vel'Koz and the Jinx. While you don't have the front line, I feel like you have the superior damage carries. So that is one thing I will say that, if Taunty isn't able to get kind of a big lead and isn't able to join these fights, if there is kind of this 4v4 while these top laners are on the side, I do favor a lot more of what Greed is able to bring to this table, but I think Taunty will have a lot of agency once he's able to actually join these fights.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, and I assume that is the game plan for TTM to eventually go for those 5v5s. It is a little bit unfortunate for them that they did lose out on that first dragon, but it was only a Chemtech dragon, and they're probably not going to be too concerned about it. Here comes CU into the mid lane. Brother Otter no flash at the moment, but is going to be able to back away through the topside river. And does have his own
I
jungle
just want to
support
point
there.
out that was a crazy trigonometry
Paranoia into
sequence.
the mid lane, immediate flash away for the way, but it does not matter. Wheelchair Jungle just one-shot him there in the mid lane with the Glacial Fissure in response. The Nocturne going to get slowed up. Concussive blow stacking up there as well.
Spartan is going
not quite
in.
able
What
to
is he doing?
Pop proc it though, yeah. I mean, wanted to try to get the stun of the Nocturne, but they were not going to win out in that play. So a couple of kills over to Greed. And it's a little bit early for the Dragon, but they might be able to transition that into the Dragon take in about 25 seconds.
Yeah. I know that you're running lethal tempo and you have your completed first item here with, but that's
Yeah, looked a little bit weird for sure. We'll have to see now about the setup. It looks like Wheelchair Jungle is actually going for a bit of a reset. We're not going to be looking for a dragon on spawn or anything like that, as we see Spartan and CU coming
Lambo's
back out
going
onto the
in.
map. Yeah, that was the not even the ultimate needed. Got off a great trade there against Kaz.
But Lambo popped ult. Like that's the
he did,
Zerial's
yeah.
down. That's a lot of the burst damage possible gone.
Well, here comes the Vel'Koz, but they have 3 people hitting this dragon right now. It's going down pretty fast. Wheelchair Jungle now making it back to the river, trying to get into the pit. Doesn't manage to smite it away, but they do take down the Braum immediately. And now Professor doesn't have flash. No way to get out of the pit, so At least TTM get the dragon, but they lose 2 more in the process. Now Spoobert teleported in for this one, bops over the wall with the body slam. Really nice cast there to put Spartan in a tough spot. Amelia Q doesn't quite connect. Now D Lambo is here to try to turn the play around. The taken down. Emilio flashes away to stay alive, and now the Zeri not going to get away from the big man. One more barrel, one more auto. There it is. Spoobert going to be able to get his 3rd kill.
Yeah, it is a teleport invested, but Jinx is much better at taking turrets than Cho'Gath is going to take this first, you'd have to imagine. There it is.
There it is.
And that Warhorn is the feats.
Yeah, it was the first 3 kills, and then the first turret for Greed. So they do have the buffed feats of strength now. Be interesting to see when they decide to go for those tier 3 boot upgrades.
Yeah, I
Does
feel
feel
like
now
with
like-
them only being 500 gold now, they got to be worth buying the upgrades almost immediately once you're able to.
Yeah, it was a pretty significant buff towards those boots. I feel like general consensus now is pretty happy to go for that after your 2nd item, usually, or maybe even earlier.
I don't think you're allowed to build them until you have 2 completed items.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Pretty sure Riot doesn't let you. Yeah.
Good to know.
Just like
Well, let's see here.
the old Ornn Armaments, that it would disable you from buying them until you had a 2nd completed item because people would
Oh,
just
wow.
focus in on it. And yeah.
Let's see here about this Rift Herald. It's going to be started up by Greed. They're in a pretty good spot right now. They're about 3,500 gold. And they're looking to keep that going. You know, you're talking about, Storm, how you actually favor them in the 4v4. That last fight, you know, Taunty didn't even join. You know, that's something that you were really expecting to see, or we were really expecting to see, right? Is the Cho'Gath getting involved for the team fights. But Taunty has not really been able to get involved just yet. Now I got the Herald immediately summoned up into the mid lane. And it looks like they will be able to take down this tier 1 turret. Now Lambo is Zeri. Thankfully, he skates over the wall. The cast gets Braum into a tough spot, though. Is able to stand beside the Zeri. But now the paranoia means that CU cannot get away. Another kill for the Nocturne. Another charge for the Rift Herald is going to collide with the tier 2 turret. And Taunty even using the ultimate there to take down Shelly. I mean, yeah, he gets a stack for it, but that tier is gone now as well. We see Professor trying to split push here in the side lane. Knows that there's no Nocturne ultimate available at the moment, but still, XSV Greed, very happy with that trade.
That's just one of those times where you can just step up. Meaning, allow you to take just a 1-for-1 while behind, that would have been great, but instead, that 2nd mid turret going down just limits your options to be able to check this Baron so much more. There's so much less safety now on your side of the map. I feel like that was a really big blunder.
Especially when you're playing against Nocturne, right? It feels extra bad when you lose those turrets and you have less safe places to exist on the Rift. It does make the everything a lot easier for Nocturne specifically, right? Having more angles to attack people from. And, at least the gold lead didn't extend by too much, thanks to the fact that at least Professor was able to get that bot turret. But now, with all that control in the mid lane, XSV should be able to set up for this next dragon pretty comfortably. It looks like we have an Infernal Soul this game. First Infernal Dragon in just about 40 seconds. And here's Taunty, though. The Cho'Gath joined up with the team now.
I'm just wondering, though, is this going to be too late? There's 2nd item spikes now on plenty of members for XSV Greed.
Yeah, and they have
want this fight.
a range advantage on the side of Greed as well with the Vel'Koz and the Jinx. But mid-wave for the side of TTM. Kaz gonna have to move back over to clear that out. Professor trying to move in here.
Taunty, just go in. Walk at these people. You're the front line.
Yeah. He's so large, the Cho'Gath. Does find a rupture there only onto the Gragas. This Professor is just kind of gonna get exploded. Where's the team? Where's the peel? They just jump on the way and one-shot him. Wheelchair Jungle now is potentially going to get focused down, but another kill for the Jinx. That's going to be Kaz resetting through the fight. Spartan desperately trying to take the 1v1 against the Nocturne, but not going to win out. And Taunty can't get anything done. It is an absolute slaughter of 5-0. XSV Greed just ran them over in that fight.
Yeah, a case of me versus team. Pretty clear for me to see in that fight. Everybody on Greed knew what their job was in that fight, you know? It was Spoobert going, okay, we look for the combos so that we can ult someone so that Brother Otter can channel to kill them. Kaz knowing, my job here is just to be as safe as possible. And Taunty just not being in the right spot in that fight at the beginning. Braum as well not being... yeah. DF Lambo going down as well. That was just an ugly, ugly fight for the side of TTM.
Yeah, it felt like they were being so hesitant. Like they were so unsure of what they actually were looking for in that moment. And you give this XSV Greed enough time, this composition enough time, you know, Vel'Koz is just going to keep throwing out skill shots like Spoobert's eventually going to find the angle, looking for another one right now. Onto Spartan, is the explosive cast going to put the Xinjiao in a whole bunch of trouble. The fear as well just means there's nothing he can do. Killing spree now for Wheelchair Jungle on this Nocturne. And they're going to look now for this tier 1 turret in the top lane as well. Taunty is in position to try to defend, try to clear out this minion wave. Looks like he will be successful. But the jungler's dead. I mean, it would be risky, but maybe an Aegaeon start here could be good. I mean, Professor is nowhere near right now as well. The way does have teleport, but...
yeah, it's just one of those things. You need to play around your own strengths and what you can do, right?
They're still looking for the turret. That's going to be the priority. Tier 1 going to get taken down. Another structure for Greed. So they've built their gold lead up now to, what is that, about 7,000? 6.5? And now there's the Aegaeon start as well. That's just shredded.
Yeah, this new Aegaeon is one of those things, right? That it just gives your team the purified shards now from whenever you kill one of these flowers on the map. Gives you a whole bunch of experience now. Instead of that kind of direct scaling power in forcing your dragons and epic objectives. So not as big of a loss, but just going to pile on those stats still with the levels giving you so much more armor. Going to make just it even harder for this Jinx to get involved.
Yeah. The old Aegaeon was kind of weird, whereas like, particularly, I mean, the Guardian Angel one was toxic for obvious reasons. And then the epic objective, you know, buffing one was kind of awkward because it's like, obviously Aegaeon is supposed to be a really significant objective, but if like you get the Aegaeon but you didn't get many dragons, then it felt like it didn't really do anything. So that was kind of counterintuitive. I definitely like the changes that they made.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. Really excited for next patch, the AP itemization rework. But let's not get too far into that. We still have quite a game to cast. Baron Dance, kind of... yeah.
They're running away with it. I mean, I think there's one good fight for TTM that they still have in them. But if they lose another, like, 5-0, like what we saw before, I'm ready to call it.
Yeah, that's fair. If it's another 5-0, 2 5-0s in a row for almost any team, I think you call that game. But...
look at this, tier 2 getting chunked down. Yeah, it's just like TTM, they're just not willing to pull the trigger. They're playing so scared right now, I feel.
Yeah, I guess it's just they believe this way is able to get a tier turret down here, give them an objective bounty is a really big thing for them.
Yeah, that is true. There's nobody answering Professor's way right now. He's getting some value on the other side of the map. And, you know, if this tier 2 in the top lane does fall down, you know, obviously that gold would be split between many members of XSV. So in that sense, maybe TTM do feel like they're trading up.
Hey, that's a win. We got a turret. Nobody else died. That's even an objective bounty.
I guess so.
You know, no one had to die face checking a Baron that hasn't spawned yet. Things are going good.
What is spawning right now That is going to be on the map, and just in time for the next dragon to join us as well. This would be Infernal Soul Point in about 20 seconds if XSV can get this next dragon. The Baron being alive now as well does give them a little bit more to consider.
Yeah.
As we can see.
Is worth mentioning both teams with a hyper carry and a jungler who provides DPS towards Baron. Vel'Koz as well, quite apt at taking it. Baron for Dragon is a possible trade if a team is that prepared for it, but instead looks like we're going to have TTM more positioning towards this Dragon, believe that they are able to take it.
All right, the fight breaking out. Wheelchair Jungle on the front lines. Not quite able to fully channel that Fear Tether. Now gets knocked up. The Nocturne does have to flash away to stay alive, but so does the Zeri, and he goes back in. That's going to be the kill on the Lambo to start off the fight. It's a double for the Vel'Koz, and Kaz gets that passive going once again. It's going to be a full house for XSV Greed. It's Kaz's full of otters. And that is going to be the 5-0 that I was predicting, Storm.
Yep. And there's the game. March down mid lane. End it now.
Wow. What a statement game for XSV Greed in this first one. I mean, we were really expecting this to be a very competitive series tonight. But, I mean, this first one, it just felt like TTM weren't really able to get off the starting blocks.
Yeah, not just seeing anybody being ready to play together, seeing a little bit of communication issues, and that's a clean win for the side of XSV Greed.
Yeah, credit to them, right? The side of Wheelchair Jungle was able to be very proactive on that Nocturne, you know, found a lot of nice angles. We were talking in the draft about how we felt like the composition for TTM was almost certainly going to be stronger in the 5v5s, right? But they just like it's like they didn't really believe that themselves. And it sort of led into them not, I feel like, not playing their composition out appropriately. And, you know, XSV just eventually found the angles, and it didn't take them necessarily that long either. And they were able to get a very convincing game number 1 here.
Yeah, and you can just kind of see looking at this post-game screen that VF DeLambo and CU both without a kill or assist this match just were completely just shut out basically the entire game, just not able to contribute. Whereas Kaz, you know, didn't die, didn't come close to dying, I almost feel like, right? The lowest I ever saw their health bar was when Zerial in them, and they got down to what, a third HP and still had barrier up?
Yeah, in the bot lane where
Yeah.
Lambo had stepped up for a second. I remember that. But actually, Storm, it gets even worse. I remember that second game that TTM lost to Gluttony last week, game number 2. D Lambo was on the Xayah in that game, and that was also a 0 kills situation. That is actually back-to-back games now for the TTM 80 carry with a 0 in the kill column. Definitely not ideal. And for the side of XSV Greed, they've actually picked up 2 zeros last week and the week before that as well. So they are now on a 5-game win streak, looking really good, ramping up at the perfect time, heading into the playoffs.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, it's the perfect time to get hot. It's every sports team starts this way, right? Every single sports documentary of how could we predict that this team was going to win? It's like, I don't know. They went 18-0 in the last 18 games of the regular season. Might have been a contender for a reason at that point, but have to see.
I mean, XSV Greed are making us take notice for sure, and TTM hopefully have gotten the memo. We need to see a lot more from them in the second game to give us a more competitive match tonight. So we were expecting a banger, and we need TTM to deliver. We'll go to a short break, guys. We'll be back for game number 2. All right, everybody, welcome back. That was a tough game 1 loss for the side of TTM Aegaeon. You have to imagine they're going to be ready to bring out every tool at their disposal to try to turn things around here for game number 2. One of those tools, of course, is ProComps, guys. Shout out to ProComps, sponsor and game changer app for the league community. Regular sponsor here for the Blue Otter League. It's not like just the other tools, guys. It's a personal draft coach. It's perfect for both teams and for solo players, and you can pair it with any other app. You'll receive real-time drafting advice, tailored champion picks, ban recommendations. You can generate champion pools that you can share with your friends. There's a post-draft guide that you can use to attack the game, generate comps based on your preferences, and even create personalized tier lists. The app has already over 280,000 downloads, thousands of daily users. It is totally free, so no reason not to try it out, guys. Download now. You can go to procomps.gg, download from Overwolf, or click the link in our bio. Big thank you to ProComps. And where are we at in this draft storm?
Well, we're seeing first round of bans has gone through. Trist, I believe, was a ban that they enforced last time. Decided to switch that up, go for the Wukong instead. Immediately, Greed goes, "Thank you. There's a premier ADC for us." Slams takes that for Kaz. I have seen Kaz has posted some clips of himself just absolutely solo killing people, just making people look like fools that I have seen in servers that I share with him. Definitely knows the damage number of, hey, I just jump in randomly and kill you now that I have Buster Shot unlocked. But I will direct you to
Pretty scary.
TTM has picked two incredibly, like, that's an old school throwback. That is Rek'Sai Orianna 1-2 for TTM. Rek'Sai,
Yeah.
I mean, if you are like on the we are gonna win early, we're be aggressive early, that's Rek'Sai. The champion that falls off a cliff harder than anyone else. Just tries to fly off the cliff at Mach speed, it feels like is absolutely useless 30 minutes into the game, is literally a knockup bot. Ori is a great pairing with them as a ball delivery, and gives you that magic damage split. Has pretty decent early push thanks to the Clockwork Wind Up passive. And we see Greed
Yeah.
just kind of going, we're just going to play standard lanes. We're going to commit to this. And they go, here's Galio, or sorry, here's Maokai. That's a flex between support and jungle, I would imagine. And just match mid lane scaling again, probably getting themselves again a probably favorable matchup for this with this Syndra into the Orianna.
Yeah, feels like that must be a pretty good matchup. Syndra's going to outrange the Orianna during the lane at least, so that feels pretty good. The Samira coming through there on the R3 as well for the side of TTM. Very aggressive. But with the Rek'Sai Orianna combo in particular, Storm, it's really interesting, right? I feel like the main issue that we saw with TTM in the previous game was just the fact that they didn't really seem like they were very coordinated. The calls were not very clear in terms of what they were actually looking to do in these fights. So when you pick a combo like this, that puts a lot of pressure on that mid jungle synergy and actually being able to utilize the combo effectively, right? So I guess that's just TTM kind of almost throwing the gauntlet down for themselves. Like, we have to play off of one another better in order to win this game.
Yeah, and there's another easy go button. Tonti 2K gonna walk in that Ornn for themselves after banning away two, quote unquote lanes you don't really want to play into with the Cassante and the Urgot. I was actually thinking that Tonti was gonna pull that Urgot out in this game. That's definitely one of his better champions for that kind of aggressive. Shares a very similar champion pool to myself that's mostly tanks and then kind of Urgot, a couple of other weird picks that are not as commonly seen but can provide some of that threat. We are going to see on the side of XSV Greed, they're going to take Leona, showing that this is Maokai top lane actually. Something
Indeed.
is really you're able to just kind of sustain with your passive, as both of you often have to use your abilities for wave clear. Has a pretty good matchup into Orange just because you can cue him away whenever he's trying to brittle you. As Samira, interested to see that they went for the Leona with this Tristana. Samira has some incredibly potent counter picks, and as well as like incredibly amazing pairings with her. And Alistair kind of is two sides of that same coin. Samira cannot play into Alistair basically whatsoever. It's like impossible because you can never channel your ultimate.
Mhm.
As well, Alistair is incredible with her. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that we see that locked in. Again, why it's weird, Leona, pretty bad into Alistair. Alistair generally beats her. You're able to interrupt the W, or sorry, the E like tether with your W as well as your Q. You're able to win kind of extended fights with the extra E stun. But XSV Green also taking this Viego with this Syndra, with this Tristana. XSV Green have a very, very clear thing, and it's burst someone down, get Viego resets, Viego wins the game. We all know
Yeah.
what this XSV Green team's doing, right? There's some pretty potent and squishy members. I think Viego resetting and taking a Rek'Sai body that can then tunnel on top of you and like use all of Rek'Sai's great abilities and then is useless. Not useless because then you just transform into Viego.
Yeah, I am really liking the Viego pick here as well. It's like they already have good frontline from the Leona Maokai. They have good engage already. So yeah, I think there definitely was that freedom for the jungler to go for the Viego this time around for Wheelchair to pull it out. And based on the performance that we saw in the last game, you gotta have faith that he's gonna be able to have another really strong performance this time on even more of like a carry-oriented pick. That is very exciting. The Leona into Alistar situation, I love that you mentioned that as well. That definitely could be a bit problematic for the XSV bottom lane. But I feel like Storm, once we take into account the performances that we've seen from these two respective bot lanes, I still it's easy for me to envision a world where the Leona Tristana lane manages to come out on top. Definitely feels like they're looking to fight fire with fire with that Leona lock-in against the Samira.
Yeah, really interesting to see because like this TTM team like has the potential if they get a lead, they can run away with this game, right? Like Samira is the champion that gets the most pentakills in the game, like easily. Like she is the pentakill machine buddy. Like if Samira gets ahead and is able to kill people, she will take over the game. Are you going to be able to do that into Tristana? Leona? I don't know if they ever have to fight you early. Like there is the
Yeah,
fire v fire matchup, but Tristana is a champion that can be played incredibly safe, right? Like you have
very true. True.
a buffer ability. Like Alistair isn't able to combo you. You can buffer combo quite easily.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. And I do feel like, I mean, both teams would have a lot of tools this time if we do go to 5v5s. We were talking about how we felt like that was kind of a disparity between the drafts in the previous game. But this time around, it does feel like both teams have a lot to work with if that is where the game is going to be decided. And it's probably going to, in large part, come down to how these fights are actually played out, right? Again, it is the resets for the side of Greed are what they're going to be looking for. As soon as they get that first kill, they're probably looking pretty good. And for the side of TTM, they're more looking for wombo combo, right? A shockwave into Samira spinning around on everybody and just kind of shredding everybody at the same time is kind of more the idea for their side.
Yeah, I mean, this is very interesting to see how these two are going to play out. I am hesitant to give TTM this one. They're playing a comp that's very much synergistic and requires everyone to just be able to, say go and just go. There has to be no hesitation. Whereas XSV Greed, it's just kill one guy. It doesn't really matter who kills the one guy. As long as Viego isn't dead, I feel like you're going to be winning that fight after that point. So XSV Greed, I think, gets my vote. Despite me believing in TTM and the predictions that I put out, I think XSV Greed's going to pull off the 2-0.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to go to another quick break. Again, game one very, very one-sided. You know, I mentioned before that XSV are now on a 5-game win streak, and the last 3 of those wins they got in less than 30 minutes. So they've been incredibly dominant as well. We'll see if they can keep it going all the way into the playoffs, or if TTM are going to give us that 3rd game tonight. Don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are now underway with game number 2. Of course, XSV Greed now on the blue side, looking for the 2-0. TTM needing to bounce back on red. And Storm, I think there's something you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, we can see it's currently getting adjusted in size. So Crewman has the NA Jace is worthless. I hate that character. Rah rah rah. I kind of disagree a little. I think that character's fine. I have probably as much hatred for Rek'Sai for Spartan. I think Rek'Sai is worthless. Pretty much has to have the biggest lead imaginable or they become useless. So we have Braku has created this nice little Rek'Sai gank counter for us. And if this number is less than, I'm going to say like 3 by the 6-minute mark, Rek'Sai has failed as a champion and shouldn't have been picked.
Well, the Rek'Sai is in the mid lane right now, Storm. Does that
Yeah.
count as a...
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope, minions haven't spawned yet, so that doesn't count.
All right, all right. Well,
We got to see a tunnel over the wall. We got to see a tunnel over the wall. It's got to result in some damage to somebody. Something's got to happen from it.
Well, we have some wards down on the blue side Raptor camp for now. That's what we've seen. As far as the you know, my hate Jace as opposed to your hatred of the Rek'Sai, I feel like it makes sense in the context of like, as you know, as a jungle, I'm a jungler, and so like I have more of a of a grudge against like top lane champions where I feel like I don't have as much control over like what happens in the top lane, right? Whereas for you, I feel like it makes sense as a top laner to be more frustrated by jungle champions that you feel like when they get picked on your team don't contribute. I
Yeah.
feel like it makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like Rek'Sai is just worse Lee Sin. If you want to play flashy insect, invade AD jungler, why are you not playing Lee Sin?
Well, we'll see how it goes. It's, you did mention in the draft that there is some history here. There is some precedent with specifically the Rek'Sai and the Orianna being paired together. So
Yeah.
maybe that is part of the thought process. We'll just have to see how it does work out. So our junglers are pathing towards opposite sides in this one. Spark going to be pathing down towards the bottom lane on this Rek'Sai. Wheelchair on the Viego going to be towards this top side of the map.
Yep. We'll also say, Spartan, you have not 3-camped as Rek'Sai. I am very disappointed in you.
Oh, not looking good. It's not. He's only got 3 minutes left to find 3 ganks. We're gonna need 1 gank per minute for the next 3 minutes. It's not looking good. It's really not.
Yeah. Just, you gotta get aggressive. You gotta do something. You're not. I also don't know why our Alistair is just randomly punting people. Maybe this is
Because
the
he
ultimate
can.
mind game to like be like, oh, Alistair's just punting me because he can.
Well,
No,
level
we've
3s
pumped
now.
E.
There's
What?
the headbutt pole onto Kaz. The counter engage can come out from Bone. Make sure neither
my
AD carry
God,
can hit for
what
a second there.
terrible trade.
Yeah, the Alistar taking a lot more damage on the way out there. Because Leona, obviously, with the W button, wasn't as worried about the return damage. And, the flash engage from Bone on to CU. They're looking to burst down this Alistar, and they will get him. The explosive charge is going to be the first kill for Kaz. A Spartan going to opt in for the 2v2. I don't think so. Maybe the plan was to gank bot lane, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, I can see it. Maybe the idea is take it back. Oh, look at us, come hit us, and then Spartan is able to come out of the bushes and get a kill. All right, tunnel over the wall.
Okay,
Tunnel over the wall.
This is the time, surely.
Gank counter
Okay.
about to go up.
Here we go.
Here it is.
We're into the mid lane. There's the knock-up. Nice setup, and there's the kill. Okay. Rek'Sai on the board.
Rek'Sai gank counter goes to 1. Also didn't get the kill. Perfect.
Meanwhile, the top lane here, very contentious as Taunty's down very, very low. Does get the level up there and does still have the teleport. But Spoobert going to be able to get the wave pushed out and it's going to have a very comfortable reset for himself on that Maokai. The Maokai was picked early as a flex, and now another engage in the bottom lane, and this time it's the Viego that's in the area. CU, no summoners. The Alistar, no way to get out. That is another kill for the side of XSV. And this time it goes on to the Viego.
Yeah, it's a disaster, pretty much. Yeah, Alistair, is gonna die really quickly, and they're gonna have their body get taken over, and they're gonna be able to. Viego is going to be able to use this Alistair to taxi onto people and kill people. So I'm really, really concerned for the side of TTM right now. Need to see this Rek'Sai gank counter go up. Maybe we're able to punish this flashless Brother Otter after we finish this camp. That's what I'm hoping.
I feel like there are so many champions in this game that the Viego is just going to be really, really excited to take over. Like, the only champion that he doesn't really care about, I think, is the Orianna. Like, the rest of them, you could find so much value with just that one rotation of spells.
Yeah, even as Ornn, if you take over that body, you can throw yourself into the enemy, right? And
oh, yeah. I mean, so much CC just from his basic
Yeah.
abilities. Like, yeah, so good. And he's tanky, so you're not going to get burst down while you're possessing the Ornn.
Yeah, that is a thing we can say. If CU is really behind and gets taken over, he could die. There's not that unbreakable will button.
That's true. That is very true. We'll have to see.
Also, crazy for me to see that Taunty built a Negatron cloak is worried about the damage from Maokai early.
Well, it's just a no magic mantle for now, but I
Sorry,
take your points. Yeah, that is a little bit interesting. Most likely a building towards the Spectre's cowl, so You know, maybe the resistances specifically aren't necessarily what he's after. This one's like the regen, but here comes Call of the Forge God and Nature's Grasp, both utilized there. There's a Brittle Auto as well. It makes it a pretty good trade for Taunty. Another Brittle Auto has to be flashed. The flash follow Taunty finds the solo kill.
That's what I want to see. That's what I like to see. Nice. Okay, we're fighting.
Rek'Sai actually level 6 advantage right now over the Viego.
Yeah.
Oh, Brother Otter, though, gonna get
There we
sectioned
go.
off the Shockwave into
There's
the
the combo.
obliteration. Wheelchair Jungle going in, has the bot lane here for the follow-up. Another knock-up from the Rek'Sai, but the CC is there. And the side of Greed are going to be able to punish. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 there in the mid lane.
Yeah, and we can... Yeah, we can count that as a gank. We went over a wall and we killed him. That's a
Nice.
gank.
All right, yeah, and the Syndrome was in the mid lane when it happened.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I
we
think
came
it's,
from a jungle to mid lane. That's a gank.
excellent, okay. So we didn't quite get to 3 free 6 minutes, but not too far off.
Yeah, it's fine. We did give that kill over to Tristana, but it wasn't like a major shutdown. I think it was only like 310 gold
All
or
right,
something like that.
Here comes
The
Wheelchair.
Smear.
Yeah, looking for something. CU still only level 5 on this Alistar. There's the flash forward for Bone, the Heartbreaker for the slow. And CU is the focus. That means they're not focusing the Samira, but Lambo got interrupted there on the ultimate. Has to burn both summoners to get away. Another successful play for XSV in the bot lane.
Yep. Samira has no summoners now. Wasn't able to get any sort of advantage from it. Taunty, you see, is just trying to force a play here. Is going to get a
and-
brittle proc, maybe? Oh,
Ooh,
no.
The Bramble Smash to deny the Brittle Auto. We're going to see our neutrals traded off. This is kind of a throwback to that last patch when we saw this all the time.
Yeah, really weird to see, but probably don't want Grubs all that much this game as either team. I'd be much happier to be taking this dragon side as I was pretty much every single game. Leona is here, has ult.
All right, Solar Flare for the slow. Zenith Blade does connect. Shockwave comes out, but it's not going to be enough to Professor. The Unleashed Power into the ball. And that is going to be first kill of the game for Brother Otter. See Spartan waiting here in the line brush. But the mid laner's already gone down there. Look for the play anyways. And the Alistar combo is going to get dodged by the Heartbreaker. And now it's going to be another possession. Oh, the Viego actually not able to get into the Alistar body. So another 1-for-1.
Yeah, gets knocked up twice. I don't know. Do you count that as a gank? He went from a brush into mid lane.
Could count. I would argue that it counts.
Okay, I feel like maybe then we can take it up then. So we're 3 at 10 minutes.
Yeah, 1-1 and 2 is not the most inspiring of score lines, but at least he's looking for stuff. That is for sure.
Yeah, he's trying to kill people. We also have the Samira build of I must build lethality because I must get ahead. Tristana just going, I have money to buy BF sword. That's a good item. I'll take 2 of those. Thank you. For Kaz. That's a little strange to see.
That is a little bit unusual. As, that blue buff, I think did go over.
Yep. Died to burn.
And yeah, remember D Lambo, one of these players that, at least for me, I'm really looking to see step up a little bit. There's a headbutt pulled onto Bone. Leona very tanky, obviously, but has a long ways to go to actually get towards safety. Solar Flare for the stun onto the Rek'Sai. Bone still on the run. Will be able to get away. Didn't have the flash, so that was a little bit dangerous, but Leona able to walk it off. Meanwhile, Spoobert has somehow gotten 3 plates in that top lane. Ooh. Pretty engaged there, not going to find it.
Yeah, that's not right. But
what the plate
Maokai.
situation?
Yeah, the plate situation. Guess Taunty did have that roam down. Guessing that's probably where he was able to pick up most of those, or at least 1 or 2 of them.
Right. It's a proxying now as well. It's Rod of Ages first on the Maokai. This is AP Maokai.
Yeah, I mean, Maokai has really, really good ratios. is basically one of the best characters in the game when you give them gold.
Well,
Spartan, I
This is
think,
not
is going
looking
to
so
kill
good.
them.
There is the Rek'Sai ultimate trying to get over to the blast cone. We can't auto attack the blast cone because the Rek'Sai is standing on top. Kill number 2 for Spartan.
Yep.
Does
Again.
that count as a gank?
I don't
the
know
Maokai
because
was originally in the top lane.
Yeah, and we also were in the top lane. We didn't come from the jungle to that fight. That was just top lane to top lane. I don't know if we can count that one. No one else was around to help.
Alright.
That's not a gank. That's a kill
Fair
secure.
enough. Fair enough. Yeah, Spoobert, definitely a little bit over-aggressive there, I think we could say, to be proxying when there's a Rek'Sai on the enemy team and your Maokai. Not really entirely sure if that was the right call. But he's going to be able to teleport back to lane. Not really going to lose all that much. Still has a slight CS advantage over Taunty Zorn.
Yep.
And we can...
We're at less than kill a minute, which is not a good Rek'Sai kill pace. Just in the game overall, you know,
Bone.
that it's...
Not going to find the Zenith Blade there. The Solar Flare does land. Going to get the cleanse out from Lambo. I see you. I actually think there was an angle there to go for the Pulverize first and then try to headbutt somebody into the tower, but maybe a little bit dangerous to go for that when you're in a 2v3.
Yeah, your jungler wasn't there. That is Samira now with no cleanse with this dragon fight. Hopefully going to be happening. 40 seconds until that spawns. Imagine as TTM, you are definitely wanting to have that fight. We see both junglers currently pathing their way towards mid lane. There's going to be a fight here.
Oh, Professor going to have to flash to get away from the Spectral Maw. Shockwave does connect onto 2, but Spoobert is here. Makes the difference. Bumps the Orianna back into the team. Call of the Forge God has to be flashed by the Otter, who does get back towards safety. Spoobert also going to have to flash. Double scatter. Connects for the Syndra. Wheelchair
Okay,
going
Spartan,
back in.
go back
There's the
in, go
Nature's
back in.
Grasp as
No, you
well.
pushed out!
Spartan not willing to go back in. But it looks like all of those TTM members are going to be able to get back underneath the turret.
Okay.
That was the flash away for the Rek'Sai. I mean,
Yeah.
they'd already lost their Orianna, and they probably knew that the bot lane was roaming up, so...
Yeah, but Samira needs to fight. Like I guess, yeah, Samira, I was focusing in on that. I saw the Alistair, I just assumed they were right there with them, but VFD Lambo was content to just sit down there. I think they got up late before plating fell off there as Samira able to finish their collector first item. They are building Mercury treads. I think that's a mistake because if you're getting CC'd, that's already happening to you as Samira. I feel like you just need damage and to ramp up.
I mean, a flash play from CU down here in the bottom lane, but Spoobert is just going to be able to smash his way to safety. Pretty easy escape there for the Maokai. Meanwhile, towards the top side, Brother Otter in trouble. There's Spartan making something happen. Pretty sure that one counts.
Yeah, that's a gank up. That's 4 ganks. Again, pretty sure this is a failure mark. Like, Lee Sin, maybe, who provides some utility.
Well, now I got a headbutt pulve onto the Leona, who is a little bit in no Rek'Sai as well. Solar Flare only going to get a couple of slows. In goes Kaz, though, looking to zero out Professor. Orianna surviving for a while. We do have the reset on the jump for Kaz. Buster Shot not quite enough to secure the kill. Over the wall goes the Leona. Does manage to finish off the Orianna, but the Kaz is going to get taken down in the process. And now Bone going to have to sacrifice himself here as well to get that kill on the Professor. So 2-for-1 play. TTM in the mid lane. They've tied us up at 8 kills apiece. And D Lambo uncontested, just wailing away on this bot tier 1.
Yeah, I mean, as great as it is D Lambo's picking up this free farm, and now has a CS lead. A CS lead is not what I want if I am.
Okay, this is another aggressive play. You love to see it. Yeah, looking for it onto Wheelchair. Flashes back underneath the turret. There are some turret shots coming through here, but CU, nice sidestep on the Spectral Maw. Heartbreaker forward, though. The turret shot, oh, CU, no, he dies to the tower. Oh, no. Ends up being a 1-for-1. At least that turret does end up going down. Could have been better for TTM.
Okay, you know what? Sure. Alistair dies. It's fine. Who cares? That's his job.
I suppose so. Yeah. Once we saw the first couple of deaths early, you just have to accept the CU is not going to have very much regard for his own life in this game, I think.
Yeah. Would like to pay your attention to Maokai has not built an armor item, and we're seeing Samira Q do about, what is that, 80 damage to him?
Huh.
That does not bode
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. Definitely
Oh,
Elam
can
Blaze,
get
2
W.
levels down as well. Yeah, just gonna get jumped on by said Maokai. Nature's Grasp utilized there as well to not very much effect. And now the collapse coming through from TTM. Teleport in for Taunty. Does not have the ultimate though. Still finds the knock up onto Spoobert. And Maokai immediately gonna get taken down. And now they're able to get the kill
Samir's
onto
in it.
well. Yeah, there is D-Lambo spinning around like a top. Bone not going to be able to get away either. 3 quick ones for TTM. A massive win for them down here in the bottom lane. They get the as well. Brother Otter and Kaz can't do anything. They just got to back it up. Nice play for the rocket ship.
Yeah, TTM gonna get some much needed kills. They have what, 3K gold lead now? 4K? Yeah, 4K after this cannon minion goes down.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, none of those kills actually going to the Samira. Somehow. But,
and now we're in a danger point of Rek'Sai has a whole bunch of gold and is going to die with said gold and give it to somebody. And they're going to be very happy.
Yeah, that does seem like a distinct possibility. We'll have to see about that. Again, this XSV Greed composition excels at bursting down single targets. So, have to imagine that there's a bit of a bullseye on Spartan's backside at the moment.
Yep. Do you see TTM very much focusing on this third dragon as the game as it spawns in 25 seconds here? Correctly as they should be. Pretty sure the XSV Greed trying to slow this game down.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, we're finding Otter in the jungle. Called the Forge Guy for the follow-up as well. They're going to be able to burst down Brother Otter here. Very nice setup from the Rek'Sai.
Yeah. That's just one of those things that any AD jungler, you're able to get that.
Kaz is just going to jump away. He's going to leave his support to the Wolves. Bone trying to use his Zenith Blade to reposition back towards the turret, but Lambo has the damage. There is the first kill of the game for that Samira. Meanwhile,
Professor
is going to die to the turret up here in the top lane. It's a failed dive for XSV. Wheelchair jungle, it looks like we'll be able to get away, but Professor able to outplay in the 1v2. And everything right now is coming up TTM. They're going to get their first dragon here as well. They're looking really good.
Yeah, you just got to ride this momentum, ride the wave, get this win. It's this point, it's make or break time, right? You got these feats, you have a way to accelerate your gold. You're going to be able to take some of this bot side camps, hopefully before you get collapsed on. Yeah, you should have time. And yeah, this is just the point. You got to play, you got to go for it. There's a wall, tunnel over the wall opportunity. I'm always going to call them out. I want to see that gank counter goes up. I think it should be at 5.
Oh, did we miss one?
I would say that bot lane fight, that Rek'Sai came from the jungle and then joined the fight. I think we can count that, can't you?
Nice. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. I think so as well. Good stuff. Yeah, I feel like Spartan, it was not the most aggressive early game, but has found some really good angles.
Yeah.
I've been liking it.
We see the first Ornn upgrade of the game going to Spartan as well, getting their Titanic Hydra upgraded, realizing that'll, prolong the Rek'Sai's lifespan of it's now officially 20 minutes. It's cliff diving time, but, we haven't been given an Ornn item. Maybe this prolongs before we approach the cliff side.
Yeah, I mean, the Rek'Sai specifically, of course, as you mentioned, as Spoobert going in, just for a little trade on Professor. The Rek'Sai specifically does, of course, fall off very hard, but overall, its TTM composition scales quite nicely with the Ornn and the Orianna. So as long as Spartan's going to be able to keep finding these engages, finding the knockups onto the prio targets, that's really all they need.
Yep. And again, Samira is this weird AD carry that She doesn't want to be in like a long, traditional fight. Samira wants to be like in the background, not really doing anything, just being able to hit people, and hopefully the enemy team engages onto your team, and then you just kill all. That's kind of the Samira special.
All right. Well, see if Lambo's going to be able to find those angles. You know, we haven't had very many kills for the Samira, but also a 0 in the death column is quite nice. Also, that scatter from Brother Otter was quite nice. Saves himself there from the knock-up that was about to come through from Taunty. Probably would have been another kill if that had landed. Rek'Sai was right there to follow up. All right, there's Professor Shockwave to try to clear out the minion wave. Does manage to get them all, but the Rift Herald means that they didn't need that minion wave anyway. Professor procs the phase rush. Oh, no, it doesn't even have phase rush. Just is pretty fast, but it's not going to matter. Is eventually going to die. Heartbreaker secures it. Shutdown for the Viego. But look at this. The cross map is there for TTM. They're going to get this Otacon uncontested. Now, it looks like the Heralds will get a charge into the tier 2. Oh, no, never mind. The Herald actually died. So, yeah,
that's
great trade.
All right, now, real question. Are we able to somehow kill this mid-tier 1? Because we have to kill mid-tier 1 if we want to threaten any sort of real objective, aka this Baron that's spawning in 2 minutes. Also gives, so much more time and safety getting these dragons stacking. Will mention, it is Hextech Soul this game, so there is all these portals around. Makes transitioning around the map a little bit easier. Also, probably the best soul in the game, I want to say. I don't know if it is number-wise, but feel-wise, it just feels so unplayable to play against it, because it means auto-attacks, like, kind of turn into engages because they slow you.
Yeah, definitely. I would argue that it is the strongest soul. I also feel like the Hextech Rift, the map change with the Hex Gates, is especially good for Rek'Sai. It even further facilitates your ability to come from unexpected angles, right?
Yeah.
That can be pretty nice.
Yes, Cloud Soul does have the best run rate, we all know.
Little note from Braku there, now to let us know.
Yeah. Okay.
So now we got, speaking of souls, we do have another dragon coming up in about 40 seconds now. So this would be soul point for Greed if they can get it. And as we can see, they do have position right now in the banana brush. But I think the Rek'Sai has spotted them out. Spartan able to suss that one out. And now Greed are going to have to back it up. They're going to cede control of the banana brush. Professor moving over on the Orianna as well. And we can see Taunty moving down on this Ornn.
I'm amazed Greed is here and trying to get into this fight. I feel like this is just one that you can just give up. It's 2-2 in Dragons if this goes over.
Did your stream freeze, Storm?
It did. I just thought it was my end.
Oh, spectator bug. Oh dear. Well, hopefully we unfreeze at some point. But the fact that there was no pause or anything is pretty concerning. We'll see. We'll give it a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But it has been overall a really nice game so far. They have looked much more coordinated in this one than they did in the previous game. Much more confident.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, I mean, TTM this game, it's 25 kills, 25 minutes. They have 15 of the kills. They have a gold lead. That's triple the kills that they got all of last game, right? I think they had 5 at the end of game 1.
That's right.
They have a gold lead. They're in the driver's seat. It's on them right now.
Yeah, and so you were just saying that you feel like they don't really need to fight this dragon necessarily, right? For the side of TTM?
I think XSV Greed doesn't need to fight this dragon. TTM is ready. They're here for this dragon. I think this game unpauses. They're also about to commit an Ornn ult onto the people mid lane and try and kill all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, as XSV Greed, like the enemy team's in their biggest power spike, basically. Right? I feel like there's a lot of room for your team to be growing still in terms of power. If you're able to cross map, maybe go for that tier lane top lane or that tier 2 top lane, get that juicy gold. Oh, we're back.
Oh, okay. Looks like we missed some stuff There was a fight that happened. It looks like XSV won it. So they have more kills now, but they did not get the dragon. So not sure how all that happened. We are taking a tier 1 bot lane right now and Baron at the same time, which seems a bit greedy, but hey, that is their team name. Maybe it'll work out. CU finds the engage, only on to Kaz, and now the Rek'Sai is able to engage on to Brother Otter off on the side. Nobody peeling for the Syndra. She just gets devoured by the Void Tunneler. Shockwave is going to miss, but I don't think it's going to matter. Look at how much work this Rek'Sai is doing. Assassinates the other carry as well. And that's going to be a 3-for-0 team fight in the top side river, plus Baron for TTM.
Yeah, Lambo coming back from base had died at the beginning of that fight. I think that's what caused XSV Greed to read and try and get both of these things at the same time. Is going to be Baron for them now, which is huge. If you want to be accelerating a game, Baron is the way to do it. Is like 5,000 gold in direct combat advantage to your team with the AD and AP that it provides. It's a really big power spike. And now we see these Ornn upgrades have really come through. Samira has hers. Orianna has hers. You know, almost basically everybody who matters has an Ornn upgrade. Like, this is the spike. Yeah, so
Sorry,
like... Yeah, Orianna does, right?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Oh, Alistair does as well. Okay, everyone has.
Everybody has it.
Just not just the people who matter.
What is this CU slander? Oh my goodness.
I'm
May have
just
died
saying.
early, but he's found some pretty good engages down the stretch here. Looking for another pulverize onto Bone. He's taking a bunch of damage now. Did I just curse him? Has the unbreakable will to immune the Maokai ultimate. Call the Forge
Samira's
God.
gonna kill everybody.
Does come out. There is the Samira killing everybody play. There it is, Storm. You're absolutely right. Another tick on the
Quadra
ultimate.
kill? Is it the Penta?
Oh, they're looking for the Shockwave to pull Spoobert back in, and surely
Flash
they are
forward?
going to give it over here. Spoobert has a way to get. There's the
There it is,
pentakill
pentakill.
for D Lambo on the Samira, the TTM AD carry. We were looking for him to step up, and he just did.
Damn. That's a way to end the game. That's got to give you the confidence back. The pentakill, after getting shut out for so many games, to come back. You know, we're going to gloss over the fact that that was 5 kills in a row and they have 6 to end this game. But whatever. Pentakill to end the game, there's nothing more hype.
That's could be just what he needed, you know? It was a little bit of a slump maybe for the Lambo, but I mean, if there's any way to get out of a slump, that's it right there. I'm really excited for this game number 3 now. Hoping to see some fire early.
Yeah, I mean, TTM showing that game that, you know, proving me wrong. I went, God, this team is absolutely worthless. Rek'Sai is going to die. They're going to give away all their gold. They're going to be absolutely worthless. Rek'Sai did the most damage to champions in this game. Spartan looked really good. You know,
yeah,
they only died once. My problem with Rek'Sai and how I almost always see them play is you basically play as a suicide bomb, right? You go in, you kill somebody, you use your ult to secure it, and then you get focused down and die. Really, really hard. But didn't do that. Only had the one death this game. Professor, I think, always also deserves a huge shout out. They played really well on that Orianna from everything we had seen from them. Landed some really good 2-man shockwaves. Was on the same page as Spartan. They knew when to fight and when to go together.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the key thing, Storm. I mean, if they weren't on the same page, then we probably would have seen your fear, right, of the Rek'Sai just going in and dying and not really able to get anything done later on in the game. But the fact that the team was ready when Spartan was looking for those engages, and they were all, you know, more cohesive in terms of, you know, when they were looking to fight, meant that the Rek'Sai was able to find so many great angles, you know, so much good setup for the team, and it ended up working out really well. And, you know, furthermore, you know, that game number 2 win for the side of TTM, I'm pretty sure, I'm not exactly sure, but I think that might have been even faster than the game 1 win for Greed. The game 1 win was like 26 and a half, maybe 27 minutes. You know, it was probably around there, this game 2 win. I didn't catch exactly the time on it, but I mean, it was great to see TTM coming back with a vengeance in this one, and we do get a nice competitive BO3 tonight after all to close out the regular season. Wouldn't have it any other way. Anything else to note, Storm, before we go to one more quick break?
No, I mean, game 3 is always the best. That's all on the line. It's all that matters. It's fearless as well, so I'm going to see some weird picks, hopefully, as well in this game, like we have been all series.
That's going to be a fun one, guys. XSV Greed got that dominating game 1 victory, but TTM coming back with a vengeance in game number 2. We're going to go to a short break, and then we'll be back for game 3 Champion Select. Alrighty, folks. We're getting into our third and final draft of the night. Of course, XSV Greed now going to be back on the red side. And we're going to have TTM back on blue for this last game. Let's see, Storm. You were just talking about a couple of picks that you were had an eye on for the Game 3 draft.
Yeah, I thought TTM was really going to be looking for this Wukong first pick. They banned it. They'd rather just not see it this game. Interesting. I think Urgot is probably one of the big contested top players. Oh my god, we just picked Saya.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the thought process is there. I mean, I guess Caitlyn is like one of the worst matchups for Zaya,
yeah,
so that's
Jinx
banned
and
at least.
Tristana also are gone. So
Yeah.
is yeah.
So what are
you're
we thinking
forced
here?
into a shorter range ADC, but you've Sivir. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. I mean, they could have picked like Jhin. Jhin was open. I don't know if
Yeah,
you play Jhin, but
but Jhin isn't a hyper carry, and XSV agreed. So Sivir 500 CS win condition has been unlocked.
yeah, it can be really good if you can time the spell shield to block the blade caller. Then Sivir would win that trade pretty hard, and taking away the Rakan here, I think makes a lot of sense. It's a decent pairing alongside the Sivir as well, right? He benefits so much from the movement speed that you get from the Sivir ultimate, so I like it.
Yeah. I'm personally a huge Sivir enjoyer. I always think in Fearless that this champion's just good. She's not as good as the other ADCs. See her like games 1 and 2, but like game 3, playing a Sivir comp, most of those champions generally get through drafts. So we're
Yeah,
going to see
totally.
people who are able to run at you. That's Jax, pretty sure jungle for the side of Spartan.
Okay. And then possibly a Nico support here, we think?
That one I have no idea. I think their mid laner, Professor, has played it in a series,
Okay.
but I have no idea. It could also be support pretty good in both roles, I think.
It's actually the second most played for CU, so I'm predicting a support
Okay.
Nico here. 32 games with actually a 63% win rate this split on the Nico, so those are some
Okay.
pretty nice stats. And there's the
Yep.
Urgot. You called
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
So
so
I
we're just
wonder
gonna
if oh, go ahead.
there's lots of really bad Urgot counters, like champions that can build Warden's Mail. That's pretty much the biggest
Oh,
Urgot counter. There's one of them,
there's
Scion. Scion
a
loves
lot
that
of
item.
those.
So yeah, like Malphite or something.
Yeah, maybe a Malphite ban. Good here. What other meta tanks are there? There's like Mundo, could still be played top lane. If Mundo
Yeah,
seems like it would be pretty good.
Mundo is disgusting into Urgot if you know how the interactions
Ooh.
work.
Shen's another tanky option, right? Very strong on this patch, so
Yeah.
could make sense as a ban. You could pick the Mundo away and put jungle.
I think we've already picked our jungler, right? Because we had this Jax jungle.
I mean, for the side of XSV. Like, if you're
Oh,
worried
yeah.
about the Mundo being a pick into the Urgot, you could just take it away here on 4.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, you have to pick your jungler here, right? So, whatever jungle pick you want, there's lots of stuff kind of available. I think wheelchair jungle mostly plays towards these AD fighters.
Mm.
So I'm guessing we're gonna see some flavor vein of that.
It was the Nocturne and then the
Lilia
Viego.
instead.
Be the Lilia here in game 3. Another champion that does very well with Silver Ultimate.
True. Yeah, this is a Sivir comp. Urgot also probably one of the best champions in the game if he is faster than you. Like if Urgot can run you down and run around you, he kills you. Holy crap,
Yeah.
does that his passive do so much damage, the shotgun legs?
Makes a lot of sense. They are quite short range for the side of XSV, so there is some danger of being like Nico ulted or like Zaya feather pulled or this sort of thing, and there is the Doctor. So we're predicting here the Mundo into the top lane and the Jax into the jungle, right?
Yeah, I'm almost certain that's what it's going to be.
Now we're just blind picking mid for Professor over there.
Oh, look, it's Ari, the blind pick mid champion. Yeah, I think that's really good here. When people are running at you with Sivir ult, Ari's pretty good because you can charm people to really slow them down. You're able to get out of the way with your own ult, provide lots of utility. Your team doesn't really need much damage. You have the Jax for the damage, right? You have a front line already. Mundo, Sivir, isn't someone you're ever going to be able to assassinate. I don't think.
You do
And
also
that's
have
a
that
Mel,
Vastaya synergy with the Xayah. But yeah, talk to me
right?
about this R5 Mel.
So I think this is really interesting. So Mel, from what I understand, champion maxing your really cool Q ability that everyone needs. You max E now is the good way to play this champion, for what I understand,
Oh,
right? It's the root.
is that that's the root on the E?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. From what I
Okay.
understand of watching and seeing some of the Korean pros and what they're doing and whatnot, that's the strat is you're an Emax champion and you play as a root bot. That's how this champion's good.
Okay.
Whether we see that build is up for interpretation. I'm still amazed that Varus top isn't getting played in these games. I have played against that build. It sucks. People should play it so that it gets nerfed and I don't have to see it in my low queue games. Please play it.
By it sucks, you mean it's really broken at
Oh
the
yeah,
moment.
it's absolute misery to play against. Like it's
Right.
so broken. You hit like 3 items and you have 3k health and like 70 of every resistance and you're tanky and you kill people so quickly. Please play it so that Riot nerfs it and it gets attention. Anyway, Mel, really, there's not a lot of really great reflects. That's kind of the main reason when you see this champion picked, right? Is like, it's like, oh, I can reflect Nami Wave back into the enemy team, or there's
Yeah.
some big reflect tool. Instead, just being picked for the overall utility and just kind of amping damage. Um, we did see in one of those games we cast that Mel was kind of the only thing keeping their team in the game, just able to output some really, really gross damage. Mel is kind of that battle mage esque sort of, Rise is able to output a ton of damage if they're able to keep themselves safe. I think it's pretty good in this kind of whole Sivir comp. Gives your team again some more wave clear. Is another threat. Um, don't know if you really have the front line for Mel to be able to really pump this damage out. Is my only concern with it.
Yeah,
So
I was
I'm
going to say that, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to
so
cut you
I'm
off.
kind of leaning towards TTM here. Um, my only worry is I do not see how this Jax gets to hit anyone pretty much ever.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the counterpoint to, the concern of XSV Greed not having a lot of frontline. It's like that's true, but also TTM have very limited engage. So if the side of XSV Greed are able to play their ranges appropriately and kind of keep their distance and not just get jumped on by the Jax or like run down by the Mundo, then I think maybe the lack of front line is going to end up not being as much of a concern for them. But it does mean that they're going to have to play these fights really patiently, right? You're not able to just run like face first into Xayah, Jax, Mundo. You need to get out that damage beforehand. They're going to have to use this Mel to whittle down those health bars. Try and land some boomerangs beforehand before really committing to the fights.
Yeah, I mean, once you're able to kind of poke people tools to really close a fight out, right? There's the for death for the execute. Mel has their own execute built into their kit. If you're able to make this damage like go through, it does stick. It does secure you things. But again, I don't see a good way for like it's Civerall, right? Like this team's all about running back and TTM are the team running forwards. And we saw last game when TTM had the ability and kind of the clear conscious like go in, do it, give me the ball, let's go. They were able to run the game. So there is kind of that option, right? There's a Nico and there's a Jax for those two AoE stuns. We're gonna have to see if that's enough.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it's I think we're really liking the Mundo in got specifically the Staya synergy with the Ari and the Zaya, and TTM with momentum as well after picking up that victory in game number 2. XSV Greed, a little bit more unusual. They do have that Urgot that Storm was highlighting for us at the start of the draft, and they just have a lot of damage just in general and a lot of different tools to play around with the Sivir. So we'll see if they're going to be able to bounce back here in game number 3. They did get their first win, of course, red side, so just maybe XSV Greed is going to be able to find another one here. Don't go anywhere, guys. Last game of the night right after the break. All right, everybody, here we go. Last game of the night. This is the decider. Who is going to have the higher seed going into playoffs? We'll find out right now. TTM back on the blue side. XSV Greed on the red for this final game.
Ooh, See a little bit of a level 1 plan here for the side of XSV Greed, having this whole team stacked up here in the top lane brush, daring for the late ward or something maybe from the side of TTM.
Lily was just trying to look tasty there, seeing if anybody would walk up. But yeah, no, they're just waiting to see if any TTM members move into this line brush.
Did your stream freeze?
I
No.
am actually doing fine over
Oh
here.
god.
Oh, there is the engage. I am actually lagging a little bit. There is the kill onto Jax. Yeah, I heard the audio before I saw what actually happened.
Yep. So this is the problem when that's the problem when your team does the same thing at level 1 all the time. When you go for this really late war or something like that, and a team sees it, they can adapt, and that's a free kill. Kill over to Sivir. That reduces the 400, the 500 CS number for the win condition. That is some gold in Sivir's pocket. It's now a number of like what 488 or something. I think it's 12 CS as a kill in terms of gold.
Sounds about right. Great call out there, Storm. The fact that Spartan goes for that same ward into the back of the Raptor camp every game. I remember seeing him do that exact same play in the previous games, and XSV had a great read there, followed up by a great punish. So, great start for them. That first kill onto the Sivir, like you said, feels really nice.
Okay, and now we're going to see both junglers clearing on opposite sides of the map. Jax is clearing towards his top side of the map, elected to take the red buff early, same with Lilia. Again, both of these champions, not really expecting to see a lot of ganks from them. Both of them are very much power farmers, wanting to try and be kind of key damage sources for their team. So I'm not expecting a lot of early game plays out of either of them.
Yeah, not really too much setup in these lanes either. Best you got is probably in the bottom lane for on either side. Nice sidestep there from Professor. Lands the charm and gets away from the Rudy Orb. I have no idea what Mel's ability names are. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But
maybe we get a quick hover over from production. We can do a quick study session on Mel's abilities. Okay, there's the ultimate Golden Eclipse. Great. That's probably the most important one. Radiant Volley, the Q. What's the Rudy Orb? Rebuttal is the Reflect. Solar Snare. I like that.
The alliteration is nice on that.
Excellent. Okay, Golden Eclipse, Solar Snare. The main ones I need to remember here.
Yeah.
Let's see how I do.
Okay, so the thing that we should mention and probably matters a lot. Never mind, Lilia is incoming for a
Here we come. Yes, Bone flashing forward to find the engaged D Lambo in trouble. Blade Caller pretty nice actually, and the Zai is going to get away without even having to put a summoner.
Yeah, I was about to say, where the heck is Nico? They've abandoned their ADC, but no, Nico has fooled me as well. They were a minion.
Alright. Spartan going to be able to jump onto the Otter and gets the flash out from the Mel. A nice little drive-by gank there from the Jax.
Yep. Had the same amount of ganks as Rek'Sai. Just saying. Still hate that champion, but man, they looked really good on it. I will give you credit for that, Spartan. You did hella great that game.
Yeah, definitely did. Our producer wanted us to mention that, yeah, Brother Otter has not really been timing the reflex quite right. So maybe just still calibrating there on the Mel. Was the R5 pick in the draft, remember. So you always like to see when a team invests resources into that R5 pick, you want to see it do well. That's obviously still extremely early in this game, so jury is still out. As the minion is on a warding mission.
Yep, that's totally normal. Don't worry about that. That's just a normal minion coding pathing, right? Spaghetti. Yep. That's totally not Nico.
Oh no! Oh, Bone got caught by surprise.
Wow!
Really thought it was just a normal words. Minion. Oh man, that was very sneaky from CU. What a clever disguise.
Yeah.
The Rakan will be all right.
do want to point out in terms of summoners that are interesting, it is Phase Rush on Urgot in the top lane.
Hmm. Do
Um,
you think this is a call just because of the Mundo matchup, where extra bit of speed to get away from him if he like lands a Bonesaw or something?
I guess, but the whole point of this matchup is it's like a battle of attrition, right? Because like as Urgot, you're not able to interact with Mundo early, right? You can't stun him because his E cancels, his passive cancels out his E. But you want press the attack generally as Urgot. It's one of his better runes, and it gives you the ability to like stick onto these tanks and kill them. Instead, Spoobird is kind of realized without an enemy, without a front line of his own, he kind of has to be the front line. And
Hmm.
I believe this gives him a lot to it. Man, what great Nico play actually. It's like as the jungler to force away. That's crazy.
Yeah. There are multiple Jaxes in the river right now, so we are pretty
Yeah.
confident that one of them is one. And so XSV going to be very confident in their call to back away, at least for now. That Tangle Barb's not going to land, but here comes Professor in the grand
Yeah.
retreat from Bone, the grand exit, if you will.
And that's 6 now for Spartan. That's a really big Jax power spike.
Yeah, just not only do you get the active of that extra little burst of damage and the additional resistances, but also just the passive DPS goes up dramatically from those enhanced autos.
Yeah, every 3 autos from Grandmaster's Might. It's such a big deal. It feels weird playing Jax and not having it when you're levels 1 to 5. It just feels like you're missing part of your champion.
Mm-hmm. That Solar Snare not quite landing for our brother in the mid lane. And meanwhile, TTM will be able to secure the first dragon. The Hextech to start us off this game. Looks like an Infernal second. So those are two of the more powerful souls off the table.
Yeah. Just basically you're praying that it's not Chemtech Soul. Is really disgusting on Mundo, I will say. But pretty
Yeah.
much everyone else on this team doesn't want it.
Yeah, it's not bad on Jax.
Sure. It's not good either.
That's true. We'll see
Okay.
what we do end up with. As
Um,
the Grubs are now alive, and Lilia good at taking Grubs. You can see her move over in that direction now.
yeah, I don't think there should be much
Ooh,
of a
grand
contest.
entrance in the bottom lane. That's going to get the flash out from CU. Then Nico just going to get run down by Kaz's Sivir. Now quickness popped there. That was a little bit over-eager from Bone. And he can't go underneath the turret for that one. Obviously, Lambo still had both summoners and ultimate. So you're never killing the Xayah there.
Yeah. Was going to just do a little bit of a quick CS check. We see a, small lead in this top lane here for Urgot, as he should, as he full lane priority until until Mundo, is able to finish his first items. Jax has a small CS lead as he's had cycled through more of his camps. So Lilia should catch up fairly quickly here. Oh, is going to be able to take one of these grubs, actually. That is a big deal.
True.
One
One of
grub
them
does
will be
give
denied.
you, I believe killing one grub, even if it's the last one, gives you like that enhanced amount of XP that your jungle item gives you.
Yes, you do get that additional XP from the first grub that you kill.
Yeah.
So that is going to solidify the slight lead that you were just pointing out for Spartan.
Yeah. There's 3 Nikos. Oh, there was 3 Jaxes on the map at the point there. I would just
So many Jaxes.
Yeah.
An inordinate number of Jaxes.
Yeah.
Now we're back down to 2 for now, thankfully.
Yeah.
Bone
Much
is going
more
to walk over
manageable.
this ward. And, ooh, nice reaction. Gets away from the Tangle Barb.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else interesting that we're going to see happen early? So this is 2 kills now on Sivir. So our CS lead to win is down to what? 476? That's our number now.
Ah, okay, yeah. Making progress.
Yep. 79 of those, only 400 more to go.
We can also point out that we just saw Brother Otter able to get the reflect out that time, reflected the charm. I'm sure our producer is very happy to see that.
And Braku, it also did just highlight for us, this Mel is maxing E, their Rudy Solar
The Solar Snare.
Yes.
Is being maxed.
which is what I believe is the correct build on them. Yeah.
According to Braku, anyway.
Yeah.
And apparently according to Brother Otter as well.
Yeah.
And now
Alright.
we are approaching the next dragon. Now, 90 seconds out. It's only the second dragon. It's not too consequential just yet, and both teams do scale quite nicely. So can't imagine that anybody is too pressed about that. There's some good damage. Brother Otter gonna get that. There's a golden eclipse, not quite enough to finish off Professor, but this already has no teleport. So this is potentially gonna be a full minion wave that is gonna be gifted over to Spartan. And Professor is gonna start to fall a little bit behind Otter in that mid lane matchup. The R5 Mel starting to show its worth.
Yeah, this is kind of the real worry now at this point, now that you're TTM, is you have 3 lanes that are going to get pushed in, right? Urgot is going to push in Jax. This is the patented triple belt. Sorry, yeah, triple belt Mundo. My mistake. So weird to have Jax in the jungle.
It is weird, yeah.
But yeah, triple belt on this Mundo here, so he is going to be going down for a Warmogs, I believe, as well as this Hearthsteel. Taunty did get that rocked.
Interaction. We're taking a look at the fight in the bot lane for now. Featherstorm comes out. Pop Blossom going to be spell shielded by Kaz very nicely. So just a trade of some ultimates down here. Here comes Professor. Gonna teleport in for the Mel as well. Lilting Lullaby actually the flash out from Lambo. And Zaya and Nico extremely low HP. Not going to be willing to continue the chase. But that is the teleport down now for the Mel.
Yeah, a lot of blinking health bars there, but no one actually goes down. Do you see Dragon has spawned? There is a reset opportunity.
Bot lanes. That's a flash forward for Spartan. Flash away for Otter. That's going to be a trade that the Jax is pretty happy about.
Yeah, you would think so, but also weird to me that you're doing that instead of hitting this dragon. Oh well, we are able to start thwacking it with our lamppost. Is that what we got in this skin? I can't.
Oh, I can't tell what skin we're rocking on the Jax this game. It looks kind of like the Angler Jax, but I'm not sure.
Very Asian inspired. I think it's Temple Guardian. I think.
Okay. Yeah, it's some kind of halberd.
Yeah.
It looks suspiciously like a real weapon.
It does.
I don't know.
That was against the Summoner's Code back when that was around.
Yeah, feels a bit unfair for Jax to have one of those. But, we'll see if Greed can manage to overcome that difficulty. That is 2 dragons now for the side of TTM, and it is not Chemtech Soul. So they're feeling pretty good about that whole situation.
Yeah, it's Cloud Soul, best soul in the game. Both the numbers. Everybody's happy to get that.
And we got a little bit of a commitment from Wheelchair up there in the top lane, hanging out for quite a while, is helping Spielberg pressure that tier 1 turret. Kaz can pop the on the hunt, as they do see Spartan and Professor moving down to think about a little bit of a gank. So just the Sever ultimate expended there to get Kaz and Bone out to safety. Meanwhile, 3 plates taken in this top lane just before they fall off. Does help the side of XSV Greed jump out to about a 2,000 gold lead here at 14 minutes.
Yeah, but 2,000 gold lead, 2 dragons. I'd take the 2 dragons.
Yeah, I would as well.
Taunty doing a good job keeping up in farm. Only 4 CS down in this point. This jungle gap has widened. Seeing, almost a 30 CS difference. These 2 are splitting the map, it looks like.
Yeah, Spartan able to get some counter jungling done there. Steals away the Gromp, finishes off the jungle item.
Yeah.
Trying to move over now to cover off his own topside camps, and Wheelchair not going to be able to finish this blue buff. Lilia, got to prance your way on out of here. There's the spear rush forward, gets the flash out from Wheelchair. Very nice. That's
first tower going down for Taunty.
There comes a CU, finds Pop Blossom on it too. Brother Otter going down low, already down to about 50%, but here comes the Golden Eclipse, and that's going to be the Ahri going to sleep. Has to flash away to stay alive. Spartan now on the front lines, gets rooted up by the Solar Snare, and there is the last bit of damage come out. Long knife from Spoobert takes down the Fox Lady, and that's going to be 2-0 for Greed in that fight.
Yeah. And they are going to be able to grow this gold lead. Herald is going to get secured with break you this mid lane tower, I believe. It's probably be able to take it after this player's chunk it. Nope, just going to take a reset, I guess, instead.
Yeah, this turret's still a little bit too healthy for now. And Mel, not really that great at DPSing structures.
Yeah.
Wait for Shelly to be utilized potentially to actually take down that mid-tier 1 turret. She has just now been secured by Wheelchair. Barden, it looks like at least we'll be able to secure his own blue buff. What TTM were originally fighting over. No, it didn't really work out for him.
We are going to see that pink ward get played just for denying getting Vision killed. Love to see it as a support player sometimes, the pettiness of the Vision score fighting over it.
Totally.
But yeah, we're kind of at this point now that Sivir has this Essence Reaver that the waves just die all the time now. You just press your buttons on them and your mana problems don't really exist anymore. Is it going to be interesting to see what they end up building afterwards. There is the Flicker Blade just getting more and more cooldown reduction themselves. Nico, interestingly enough, has built full damage, that there is that rocket belt to help reposition themselves for their ultimates.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pretty spicy. There's a flash forward for Spoobert. Oh, Spoobert! There's some Urgot mastery coming through, exactly like you like to see. Is going to get jumped on now by Spartan and Professor moving down as well. Nice counter-strike as the CZ down on 2. There's a Pop Blossom. Beautiful follow-up. Bone, though, with the peel. Amazing. The Rakan just getting Spoobert out to safety. Very elegantly done there by...
Yeah, that was a great play by Bone. I thought for sure that both of them were dead there, but using It'll utilize that knock-up and quickness, give them the movement speed to get out of the way.
I'd lock it as well.
Yeah.
Bart now is going to go to sleep, gets off the counter-strike, and Wheelchair. Oh, whoa! I wasn't expecting that much damage from the blooming blows, but Lilia wins out in
a
1v1. She didn't even need a real weapon.
Nope, just the power of dreams.
That's right.
Huh. Well, so would like to call it out. Urgot has built a Hullbreaker second item to go along with these Swiftness boots. Deciding that this game, their whole job is to just split push and to draw this game into a 4v4. That if Mundo isn't in the team fight, he thinks his team wins it.
Yeah. Contrary to what you were expecting earlier, right? Where you were talking about how Spoobert was maybe feeling like he had the burden of being frontline with this draft. But yeah, the Hullbreaker definitely indicating more of the side lane angle. Looks like this third dragon is going to be taken away from TTM. They're really not too pressed about it. Felt like they were never really considering contesting for that particular objective. I guess it makes sense after their Jax got taken down by the Dream Power that we mentioned earlier.
Yep, and you know, your Sivir is, or your AD carry is down an item to this Sivir. Your Mundo hasn't completed his second item either. He basically just has a whole bunch of health resistances up at this point. Spoob is able to get out of that tower utilizing the E-buffer ability that makes Disdain so good.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, walking up there is CU, using the rocket belt to try and get away. Bone very deep for that CC. D-Lambo, nice redirect on the feathers, but not enough as Kaz is there. Flashes in for that last boomerang onto the Xayah. Has another kill, plus the turret for Greed. We were pretty happy. Oh, and Mundo off on the side there. Taunty just absolutely dissecting that deer. Yeah, jumps over to the ward. And it looks like the Jax, he's on the wrong side of town, but I think he's probably going to be able to make his way out of the... Taunty now, getting jumped on by the crab.
This Jax has counter jungled chickens, and I think, he's going to take a reset now.
Yeah, it's hungry work. Running away.
Yeah. Hopefully we are able to see Spark utilizing this gold to do something. Currently, he is 0-3-0. There's only 1 kill right now for the side of TTM with this 20 kills. Fortunately, they're down 4k gold currently, but there is that thing, right? They have 2 dragons. They have some of this scaling. Jack's almost always going to mean your team wins the scaling battle, quote unquote. Just this absolutely crazy numbers with his items and his levels.
I
So
mean, it's not like Greed have bad scaling either, though.
yeah,
Now, at what point do we feel like the gold, like how much gold do you need to outweigh the dragon advantage? Because I personally, I feel like Greed are there.
yeah. You think 4k is enough?
I think so. I mean, the fact as well that they stopped the soul stacking, that they got that first cloud dragon. If it was 3 dragons to none, then maybe I'm still feeling good about TTM's position. But the current game state, I think this is looking really good for Greed. Charge into the tier 2. Shelly destroys that mid tier 2. We got somebody flashing away. I see you over there on the Nico, flashing away in his own jungle.
Yeah, this is kind of the point, right? This next...
the Pop Blossom
got caught on the wall.
Just used the flash to get away earlier, so didn't have it for the engage. Now the Lilia does full of sleeps, but does trade herself off for it. Very low is Spartan, flashed away, burning down the Lilia dot from the grave, takes down the enemy jungler, and now into the meat grinder. Spoobert takes down, helps take down the Zaya, but the Mundo doing a whole bunch of work on the other side of this fight. Bonks the Sivir over the head, but now Taunty not going to be able to get away. Not quite enough health regen just yet. And that is, in the end, going to be a 4-for-3. Very contentious fight, but it is XSV Greed on top once again.
Yeah, I was going to mention, if TTM can slow this game down and they don't have like a 5-for-0 wipe, I think this game favors them. But if Greed are able to keep this acceleration going and are able to fight when they have these big spikes that are different, right? Like Zaya is still not finished her, is nowhere close to a 3rd item where we see, there's the full BF sword and the pickaxe. Like Kaz is really, really close, and I'm pretty sure he's going to complete their Infinity Edge on their base here, if I had to guess.
That would be huge.
Yeah? No? I
guess not.
I saw 99 gold in the inventory. Maybe.
Yeah, not quite sure how that. Yeah, surely he must have bought something. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, the Sivir is very strong and is relatively close to Infinity Edge, right? About 1,000 gold away. Not going to have it for this dragon fight that is quickly approaching. But on the hunt is going to be popped. Nice Tango Barb to stop the advance of the Spooberts, who now flashes forward and lands the ultimate as well. Pop Blossom to peel away, but this Nico is going to get popped herself. And now it's going to be Professor forced to Spirit Rush away, back over the Krug wall there. That's going to be 1 kill. Could result in a whole lot more for XSV Greed. Looking for the Aegaeon right now. Spoob is going to teleport away. Not in time to save that top tier 1 turret. Taunty now is kind of getting run around by the Urgot. That's looking real good for... Meanwhile, Spartan jumps on Kaz, finds a lone Sivir there in the jungle. It looks like the Aegaeon call was a bridge too far, as now Spartan looking for some value with the counter-strike, but a really nice knock-up from Bone to keep everybody safe. And now the Jack's ultimate used as well.
I feel like that was a chance for the Lily ult to really go off there, I think.
Spoobert is going to run down Taunty. There's that Urgot damage you were telling us about. Absolutely was there. And now the Dragon getting shredded by TTM. They are going to go up to Cloud Soul Point. And it looks like they're going to be able to get out as well.
They took that and they didn't die for it? That's crazy. Oh, maybe I'm speaking too soon. We're all recalling on a ward. The enemy team's coming.
I mean, Kaz had been just killed off, and they knew Spoobert wasn't there. But now look at the damage and the chains, the Fear Beyond Death from the Urgot once again finding a kill, flashing forward in his wheelchair, getting that sleep down onto Lambo, who just had nothing left. Tried to use the flash there to outplay, but it did not work out, and that is going to be a 5-for-1 in the extended fight. They lost out on the Dragon, but XSV Greed now. The health bar is too low to go for Aegaeon. Oh, they're going to start it up, actually. Can they get this?
Yeah. I don't know. The Aegaeon does so much shred damage. Okay, Kaz is here. Yeah, we get that, right?
I think they
Lily
get
is able
this.
to Lily is able to just heal up with this stupid thing, and Urgot has the shield
Stupid
on his E.
healing ability.
Yeah, stupid healing jungle
Dang
pet.
it.
Why does it do it so much?
I thought you were talking about the passive. She actually gets
No.
healing from her passive as well.
Yeah, I was just talking about the jungle pet giving so much
Oh.
omnivamp.
Well, fair enough, I guess. Yeah, I mean, so the fights this game have consistently gone for greed. They have been winning out in the fights, but that little bit of a botched macro call on the Otacon start, instead of just playing for the dragon, means that there is still that clear win condition for TTM. Stone getting caught out a little bit here in the Baron pit, the charm landing as well, just barely. That Rakan manages to get back over the wall.
So this Mel build is kind of weird. Why did we buy a Seraphs if we're not buying Rod of Ages, and we're now fully going into a pen item, despite almost no one building MR? I do want to call that out for Brother Otter. Don't quite understand
Yeah.
it, but who cares? They're 5-0-4. They're doing amazing right now. Taunty has now finished his Stride Breaker on the Urgot. Again, something that just allows you to keep on top of people. Has the Swift March boots, or whatever their name is, the things that give you Hecarim passive. Basically,
Yeah.
gives you like AD compared to your movement speed. Swift March,
Nailed
yes.
it. Look at that. Well done.
Yeah, so now he can just stick on the Taunty.
There is.
But,
He's marching very swiftly to his death. There it is.
Oh,
Maxed
and
out
that's-
shutdown for the Jax.
Yeah, and that's for Jax. That's a hype. Mundo is able to just stick out here. Does have Warmogs built and finished, so never has to reset anymore if he doesn't want to.
So normally, when your top laner is extending that far in the bottom lane, then you would expect the rest of the team to have a pretty nice Baron setup on the other side of the map. Unfortunately, it seems that was not the case. And so Spoober did kind of just die for free.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for Spoob's team to do Baron without him. Like, the turn for this team is good. You have the Sivir ult kind of run at them, but there's no one on your team to really tank Baron. Like, it's just going to destroy and chunk whoever is the one tanking it. So you can't really actually start it and force the enemy team to come. You just have to play the vision game.
But Lilia has the jungle pet, so that should give her enough healing to tank the Baron, right, Storm?
Yeah, for sure. That's almost enough.
Well, maybe we'll see that a little bit later. Spoober is back to the scene of the crime, pushing out that bottom lane. Does have both summoners now, and is level 16 now on the area. Both top laners level 16.
Yep. Not nearly as big as a power spike for Urgot as it is for Mundo. Mundo ult at rank 16, for those who don't know, makes his ult more effective for every champion within a stupid amount of distance from him. Makes his ult healing go up to over 100% of his max HP when you have it maxed out. One of the reasons why Mundo is so good in low ELO is because you get to level 16 all the time.
Yeah, so at this point, has Taunty turned the corner in the side lane match? Like, can he actually? Because Spoobert has been just kind of beating the brakes off him with the Urgot so far.
Yeah.
Oh wow, looking for the charm as they already back. Taunty looking for the back line, just getting so much healing trying to. Oh, but the Urgot got him low enough. Look at Spoobert turning the play around, takes down Taunty. The play. Not a kill for Mel. That looks so good. So you found the 5-man Pop Blossom, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, just the rest of the team wasn't able to do anything while it was happening, right? Nobody was hitting anybody. DF Lambo was putting down the feathers, but they weren't able to get a pull after it. Spartan wasn't able to do anything. They were, able to get a Q and an E off, but wasn't able to hit ult onto anybody. It's just so tight.
Spartan flashing for the stun, and it's not gonna work out. Spoober just a shotgun knee to the face there for Jax. The real weapon did not help him. It's okay. They don't have Lilia here for the healing. Oh god, they don't have any healing. Storm.
Okay.
Okay.
Recon Q is healing. Recon Q is healing. Enough.
You're right. Oh, thank God, I forgot. Oh.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
Yep.
Well, They chose to do Baron
Oh.
instead of Cloud Dragon. It's okay though, Spoopert. Teleporting back in. We are gonna have Wheelchair going golden, but that's the jungler, remember, is gonna get TTM, find a really good pick, but CU gonna have to be sacrificed for that one, and Spoopert is so strong on this Urgot level 18. Charm lands from the Professor, has to flash away to make sure he doesn't get taken down below that threshold, but now the flash from Kaz, trying to take down the mid laner. Spell Shield is there, but it wasn't used to block the color, and D-Lambo makes him pay for it. Oh man, a couple of overextensions there perhaps for Greed. Is that gonna cost them the Cloud Soul? They still have Spoopert
way.
here.
No, it's Spoobert's alive. They get Cloud Soul. It's just the big thing for TTM right now is you're not losing an to this Baron.
Oh, Spartan. Count Taunty and Spartan trying to keep control over the river to prevent Greed from taking the dragon themselves. Lilia about to respawn, so Greed just need to buy a little bit more time till the Lilia is able to prance her way back on over. But now here comes the Professor. It's going to be TTM with the first team with 5 members in the river.
I can't believe we're just 5v5ing again. But this has got to be the setup for TTM, right? You just got to have... Oh, we're starting Dragon.
All right, Bone flashes in, looking for the engage. The Pop Blossom, though, for the counter engage is pretty nice, but they've already taken down the Zaya, and Spoopert finds the execution as well. XSV, they're doing it. 20 flashes on top of the Lilia, does manage to take down Wheelchair, but it's only the Mundo left. Everyone else has been taken down. This will be the second Dragon for Greed. They have 1 minute left on their Baron buff.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that they get that Baron and they get all these kills and stuff, but at this point in the game, like, gold's starting to stop mattering, right? Like, these kills have to lead into something. Like, you guys need an inhib.
You saying XSV need an inhib?
Yeah, XSV needs an inhib. Like, I don't know once... I mean, I guess we've just seen in these fights, right? They don't have the damage, right? That's basically what it is on the side of TTM. They don't have the damage to kill anybody. Their carries get exploded, and then the fight's over, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't actually quite see what happened to Lambo in that last fight. Zaya being the first to go down was pretty catastrophic. I mean, when that happens, then you definitely don't have the damage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they just got hit by an Urgot and died. That it was like recon into stuff.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
I'm also not sure. I think Lambo probably used the Featherstorm in the mid lane when like Kaz was trying to flash on him. I guess it was probably not back off cooldown from that. CU in trouble. Gonna get pulled in. Executed by Spoob. Spartan able to jump back over. Rejoin the rest of the team. Now 5v4. They don't have Baron anymore for the side of Greed, but they're not going to need it to get this mid inhibitor tower. The inhibitor probably going to drop as well. You were saying they needed one? They got one.
Yeah, they got it. I think that's, as much as it's weird to say, like, that's the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to make the map more difficult to play for TTM.
Yeah, it's just, and it's also going to stop Jax from being able to get easily to his farm, basically. That he has to be able to somehow get farm, and I don't think he can anymore.
Well, at least Spartan has already gotten to level 16. Let's a quick look at the items if we can. Does the Jax have 3 items already?
He has 3,
he does.
But Jax wants 6, right?
I hear you. Yeah, it is difficult. That's the main drawback, I think, of playing Jax in the jungle, right? Is it is just a little bit of a slower economy.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like TTM are going to be able to hang on at least for now, and it's looking pretty likely they're going to get another crack at this Cloud Soul.
Yep. 2 minutes on that, 1 minute and 15 seconds until Baron spawns on the map. So I'm guessing that's where the majority of the focus and the vision is going to swap to, that we're going to see lots of wards towards the top lane, pink in the back of this Baron pit, and watch if Greed is able to position and make sure that Taunty it's not Taunty checking a brush, right? Because Taunty is Warmogs and he can survive. You want someone else to face check a brush and have your team kill them.
Right. Just to be
Yeah.
clear, XSV Greed
Greed.
wants someone
Yeah.
besides
Yeah,
Taunty
Taunty.
to
Yes,
be doing
yes.
the face checking. So
Yes.
see if that does end up happening. There's what you were talking about, where Spartan's not going to be able to get his own camps anymore. Seeing
Yeah.
that as Urgot died, so that's good news for TTM. That
Yeah,
did happen off
overload bot
screen.
lane.
Yeah, it's two-man play from Lambo and CU. I guess probably just got Nico'd a little bit. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, we do see the Pot Blossom is on cooldown, so probably tried killing a minion wave, and oopsie, there's a 7th minion in there.
Yeah, it can be more difficult to keep track of that sort of thing as we get later on into the game.
Yeah. I mean, as a caster, I always forget about it as well. Like,
Yeah,
player.
I hear you. Now, this is sneaky. We have a Fanatic Brush set up for Greed.
Yeah.
See if they can get
But,
that non-Mundo face checker. Swirl Seed connects onto Spartan. That could be the pick they need. He flashes away. Is going to go to sleep. Taunty, can he keep the jungler alive? He's not even going to... Just going to leave Spartan for dead. The charm lands. That's big. Onto Wheelchair. Now is it XSV? Yeah. Can they keep their jungler?
Yeah.
We'll get Wheelchair out of that difficult spot. That looked a little bit scary for a second, but a successful pick onto the jungler should lead into a Baron, but Wheelchair is down a little bit low, but it's fine. He's got the jungle item. He can just heal up.
Yeah, there's a Scuttle to get all of his health back on.
Spoobert. Gonna get that Featherstorm out. He's gonna get charmed up and then eviscerated by the feathers. I'm not sure what the plan was there. I guess just running interference. That did buy them enough time to finish off the Baron. Wheelchair, though, is extremely low, trapped in the pit with no flash. Pop Blossom does find 2. There is the Mundo flashing forward, does cancel the recall, and it is an absolute wipe. TTM punish them off the Baron take. And you're absolutely right, Storm. This should be a very comfortable rotation down here to secure the Clouds. XSV agreed. Maybe just blundering a little bit right at the end.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really big win, because I'm sorry, but like this whole team getting movement speed, so the reason the enemy team wins is because they have Sivir ult, and they're so much faster than you, and now your team has a ridiculous amount of ability to like counter that, right? You just pop your ults. Like, people on your team can just waste their ult. They run faster than Sivir does.
Yeah. And I feel like we got to criticize Spoobert a little bit for that one, you know? It's like he's been having a great game overall on this Urgot, but that overextension meant that there was nobody on the side of XSV that was really able to probably tank that Baron damage. We saw how low they all got. And TTM were able to get that massive punish.
Yeah, and Spartan is closing in on his 4th item. Like, I hate to like keep harping on it, but like 6-item Jax like beats every single character in the game, right? Like, it's not even close how good Jax is with items. Like, if Spartan gets to the farm point, it doesn't matter that the guy's 2, 8, and 3. Like, he's gonna win a fight. You know, there's Cloud Soul on Mundo. That means that like Sivir is never safe anymore. Is never safe anymore, right? Like, he just runs at you, and you can't outspeed him. I mean,
yeah,
I think this is. Yeah, I think this is so huge, and Spoobert is like really all in on this huge damage build. Like, he has absolutely no resistances, right? So he's at the point where D Lambo just gets to like absolutely annihilate him. Same with Ari. Stupid Nico clones just making me excited for a second until I see that clone tag come up.
I mean, it should be easier for us because it literally says clone on top.
Yeah.
But it can be difficult to keep track of. 40 seconds left. He's a bit far forward once again. Gonna get charmed up. There he goes. Professor gonna get kill number 3 on this Ari. The rest of the team is gonna be able to retake the mid inhibitor, but now Professor gonna fish for another charm. Ooh.
Okay.
Almost finding it there. I think maybe actually did land it, but the blast cone came through to get Bone away to safety. Steal a red buff on the way out.
On the enemy team. That's pretty useful. Spartan's about to walk into them, isn't he? Okay, no, he's not.
No, that's a clone. That's or a Nico or something.
That's a Nico. Yep, that's Nico. There's
so
real Spartan taking the Scuttle Crab.
We do have the mid wave very much in favor of TTM right now. They're gonna be able to take that tier 2 very easily. And
Yep.
now, without the Baron, they're not able to continue. So, wait for now.
Oh man, this is everything we want out of a game 3. This is really tense. 40 minutes?
Oh, yeah. Very back and forth. And you can really feel as well how much both of these teams really want this win. You know, clearly they're thinking about that, right? About the stakes, about the playoff implications. You know, both teams are okay. That's teleport in for Professor. He has Cloud Soul Ari, so he's actually chilling. The charm, amazing there. Just stuffs the engage from Bone.
That was a big call out. That's one of those big moments that you can kind of look at in the game, right?
I mean, that's all the tools for the Rakan. Ult, Flash. Sivir ult was used there as well to try to set up that play. Now, I do kind of like this from Greed, though. They're committing all 5 members for this bottom lane. They already got the mid inhibitor, so try to pressure one of these sides.
Yeah, this is late
This is
from
really
Taunty.
nice,
I
and
think they should take this.
yeah, there's not enough defense for TTM in the area, so that tier 3 immediately goes down. Spoobert, really aggressive, looking for the play, can't find the E flip back. The inhibitor will go down, though. In comes the Jax on the side. 5-man counter-strike, but the Pop Blossom can't really get in there. They do take down the Mel, and the damage is there. The Cloud Soul to a TTM to run down a couple of extra members. Kaz, without the ultimate, is going to come back up soon, but the charm lands onto the Sivir. Spartan takes him down. The real weapon doing its work this time. Bone the last to fall. 5 for 1 in the fights. Oh, they don't have a wave anywhere right now, but the death timers are really long. It's 30 seconds on Brother Otter and Wheelchair. I think they have it. I think they're going to be able to end off that fight.
I don't know why Taunty's up here top lane, but okay. So I think we're going to get 2 inhibs, I think is what they're going to... Oh, no, they're going to try for this end,
15
right?
seconds on the Lilia and the Mel. Wave coming in towards the Nexus towers. And Jax is so quick at taking these alongside the Xayah as well. Taunty realizing that this is in fact the end as long as he joins up with the team. And there it is. TTM, it was looking real tough for them. At the earlier stages of that game, they were losing all of the fights earlier on. But they scaled up, they found their moment in the end, and they will walk away with the win here in Week 7.
Yeah, I mean, what a game, what a series that was. But TTM able to get victorious. Again, one of those things, looking at these numbers, you go, oh, man, all this, DF Lambo and Professor as the Ari, but I do really want to give a shout out to, Spartan on Jax. While the man had a terrible scoreline, despite, farming up to this game, was able to get those objectives for his team, right? Got the 3rd dragon, was able to make these aggressive calls, get his team these advantages that really allowed them to win. Like, we saw how big that Cloud Soul was, right? Even just with that Ari play at the end there, the whole team being able to get into that play. I mean, in that last fight, they won because he landed a 5-man counter-strike.
100%.
Like,
yeah, that engage. I mean, if there was nothing else, which there absolutely was in this game that Spartan did well, I feel like that counter-strike, that engage for that last fight at the end was just like chef's kiss, Like that was literally, he won the game right there. I mean, obviously there were other things that mattered, but that moment was what decided it in the end.
Yeah. I do want to say shout out to Spoobert on the other side. Did get really ahead, was able to push his lead. Unfortunately, just at the end there was the solo frontline as Urgot and wasn't, building for it there. Didn't buy any resistances and would just get absolutely popped even through that Sterix gauge.
I mean, I think he was over-aggressive. If anything, I feel like the fact that Spoobert had such a strong performance earlier on in the game almost ended up working against him in the end. He was overconfident. He was looking for plays, looking for fights that he just didn't need to. We talked in the draft about how, you've got like Lilia, Mel, Sivir, like you've got good range with this composition. You can chip people down with the damage over time. But Spoobert, I just feel like was playing a couple of those fights too fast, and the fact that he's like flashing in past the inhibitor to look for that engage is kind of what allowed Spartan to get that angle to come in behind them and get that massive stun off. So yeah, I mean Spoobert had a great game overall, but I do feel like he kind of made some critical mistakes towards the end of the game as well.
Yeah. Also, Brother Otter, I think just the one death that game, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm
Having a
trying to remember
19
when his one death was. I must have been
at the end of
after
the
the
game.
Baron.
At the end of the game when they all
Was
died.
it?
That
Oh
was his
wow.
only death of the
Oh
entire
right,
game.
of course.
Yeah, because they got
Yeah.
aced.
Oh wow. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Wow.
So, but
I
hey,
mean, what an incredible
TTM makes it,
battle.
right?
Yeah, and we were treated to a really nice best of 3 tonight. I was definitely worried after that game number 1 that we were just gonna have a stomp, another stomp to end the season. But props to both of these teams for really, you could tell that they weren't tilting. They were still giving it their all right to the very end to see.
Yeah, love to see it. What a fantastic series to end. And remember, guys, tune in next week. We're not just starting to ramp up. It's fearless, it's best of 5, it's playoffs.
Are we best of 5 for the entire playoff bracket?
That's how it's worked in the previous seasons. I don't know if it changes because we're top 16 now instead of top 8, but I believe it's playoffs are best of 5. They almost always are in BOL.
Yeah. I guess I forgot. I was getting confused with some of my other leagues, but yeah, that's super hype. Definitely.
Yeah,
Very, very
you know,
cool.
game 5, no bans. There's some weird
Mm.
stuff that happens in best of 5s, and I love to see it.
Indeed. That will be super, super fun. I did forget tonight's Storm to ask you for player of the game votes. So we'll just do a player of the match vote here at the end instead. Definitely some strong performances. Multiple different members of
Just like
TTM.
it.
Everybody kind of contributed something different, right? Who'd you lean
Yeah.
towards?
So the two in my mind that weirdly, so Spartan, I think, that game as Rek'Sai, they shut me up. They played incredibly well. I had the gank counter ready to make fun of them. Haha, why did you pick such a stupid champion when you were losing? And then dominated on it and carried the game. This game is Jax again, like I had said, played incredibly well. CU, despite basically being a sacrificial lamb and dying all of the time, was dying for the right reasons and died well. Um, I can keep going for this the whole way. Professor had some really, really fantastic games, had some really great clutch plays, was able to get this damage off. Taunty was just a brick wall, pretty much. Spoobert, while playing incredibly well, wasn't able to get did get these huge advantages, but like Taunty stayed in the game and was relevant, didn't just fade into the background. But for me, it's Spartan. I think, as
Mm,
much as I want to say it, jungle diff.
I love it. Redemption for the Spartan. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I thought he played really well tonight. Definitely was a little bit of a struggle in the first game. We were on the Zhao. Definitely
Yeah.
ended up getting bullied a little bit. Got separated a lot. Or like it was the Gragas, I think in particular was giving him some difficulty. It was kind of like casking him into some difficult positions. But yeah, I mean games 2 and 3, Spartan was instrumental in getting the team the win tonight, no doubt about it. Before we sign off for tonight, I do think it would be prudent for us to check in with some of these other results that did come in. So taking a look over here in the match history channel, I'm trying to find right now the other results from the Ionia division. The big matches to watch for this would obviously be Gluttony. If they got the win over Monkey's Goons, then I believe they locked first seed. And then, of course, Team Solo Invade, if they got the win, that would send XSV Greed down into the 4th seed position.
Oh,
Glacial
interesting to see.
Spectre won 2-0 over No Gaming. That's huge for them. They were fighting for that
Gluttony
last
was,
playoff spot versus AK Hearts.
yeah, Gluttony took the 2-0 over Monkey Goons. Oh, Mint lost a game. They lost the undefeated regular season streak to BlizzCon
Wow.
Expire.
Okay. It looks like AK Hearts also got the 2-0 over Conduit Gremlins, so that is really tragic for Glacial Spectre. Glacial did everything that they could, but I think they're still going to finish a couple of points behind the Hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe they had a point lead heading into this, so that should, with both of them picking up to 6 points, that should be
Yep.
AK Hearts making playoffs.
Yep. Very
I'm
cool.
just amazed that Original Sin 2-0'd Winston's Winions.
Wow, that's crazy. I had a couple of the
That's
Winions on Otter Talk earlier.
yeah.
That's crazy. Actually, now that you mention it, Espada did predict himself to lose tonight.
Oh,
So
did he?
maybe it makes sense after all.
Was
He
was
saw
it
the
a case
lines
of
for his opponents. I think most of his predictions were kind of meme predictions. It's always he's kind of difficult to read.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
but yeah, I mean, definitely props there. It was sorry, who beat the Winions? It was
Original
Original
Sin.
Sin. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Butters.
So I mean, obviously that's
Dead.
also a team. So glad to see that they got a win here to close out their regular season.
Yeah. Will mention after Platinum, I believe that they're going to be doing the match results and do a draw and everything, and we're going to see how these playoffs shake up and
Yeah.
see these matchups. I'm really eager to see who we got.
Yeah, that's going to be after the Plat League tomorrow night, like you just said.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to ask you before we sign off for tonight's Storm. So right now, if I'm trying to remember right now, your content that you were doing, towards the beginning of the season, I think Crash Outs is one of the teams that you called out as being like the favorites. Who else was in like your S tier of like teams that like should win the season? There was
Winston's
like
Winions.
yeah.
I had
Okay.
Winston's Winions and the Crash Outs, I think, were like the teams I really were high on. I was also really high on that was like my biggest like flop. I thought that team was gonna make top 4. And I think
Sorry,
they
which
have
team?
Monkey's Cheer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that team like top 4 in the league, and I think they got 2 match wins.
Yeah, they really struggled this season. I think that was a surprise to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But now, how are you feeling, Storm? I want to check in with you one more time as we playoffs. Who's your favorite now to end up in the finals? There are still your top two, the Crash Outs and the Winions. You still feeling good about that?
I would say the Soot Sprites, I think, join them. I think very
Mm,
much in my own mind, it's a 3-team race. I think those 3 teams are the clear favorites in my own eyes. Maybe Original Sin is one of the other teams you need looking at. Um, this is a pretty big win for them because I had mentioned against the other teams in their group who were in playoffs, they were 0-6 heading into tonight.
yeah,
So that was like my major concern, but they picked a really big win up.
absolutely. Well, I do think it's probably about time for us to close out. It's like 6 a.m. or something for our producer over there. Any last words, Storm? Final thoughts?
No, I think that's it for us. I'm excited to see the playoffs, and we'll see you all next week.
Absolutely. It's been a great time. Thank you, everybody, very much for watching. We will indeed see you next week. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for the last week of the Plat League round robin and, of course, the draw show afterwards. Take care. Have a good one. See you next week.